Breaking news, breaking news. We take you to New York City. We got a crazy situation going on in New York City. Apparently, we have an active shooter situation in New York City. All right, so folks, come on in, come on in. We have a situation. Now, let me tell you some of the preliminary things that are breaking from this situation. Massive police presence in New York City, 345 Park Avenue, East 52nd Street. They're saying NYPD has been shot. They're saying someone was with a AK-47 type weapon in New York. Oh my goodness, folks, my worst fears. This is crazy, folks. Come on in, come on in. We're understanding the situation. There is a massive police presence in New York City right now. Active shooter. Apparently, a police officer was shot. Heavy police presence. Emergency responders. We're going to see what's going on here in real time. We are live. So this appears to be the area of 52nd Street, 345 Park Avenue, 52nd Street.
Guys, you clear the street for me.
And we got things going on. So let's try to understand the situation. Do they have somebody in custody or not? Holy moly, folks. New York City. I saw this pop up on Twitter just a few minutes ago, and I'm like, oh my goodness. .345 Park Avenue and 52nd Street. We have a major, major situation unfolding right now before our eyes.
Keep walking, guys. Keep walking.
They're all working on the SOC frequency. I will advise in about a minute. Give me one.
Bossman, it's not a good spot. Not a good spot.
Right? Need you to back up.
Folks, we gotta go at least 54th Street.
Oh my goodness. What is going on here, folks?
Everybody's got to get off the corner. Everybody has to get off the corner. Everybody's got to go down the block and get off the corner.
All right, so we're trying to get an understanding of exactly what's happening and what's being put out there.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Guys, keep pushing down the block. Get into the block. Let's go.
So they're saying there are reports of somebody with an AK-47. Thank you, Norma Davis. Folks, we have somebody that was wearing a bulletproof vest. And police are amongst the victims. We just don't know how many police officers were shot. They're saying suspect fled into a building. So we might have a situation where they might be doing something with a building. This suspect has not been apprehended. Suspect has fled into an office building. Suspect has fled into an office building. That's the information that is being put out, folks. This is crazy. Saying suspect is in a building. So we are Park Avenue, 345 Park Avenue, East 52nd Street. Massive police response. Apparently, NYPD has been shot. Some civilians have been shot. We just don't know how many. At least one. Some are describing this as a mass shooting. All right, so we have a major incident. Oh, they're all coming out armed. All right, for people are coming in, we have a major situation. Park Avenue and 52nd Street, New York. They're saying a shooter has opened fire, according to RT. A shooter has opened fire. They're telling residents in there to take, and everyone just to take shelter immediately. Fire department's there. Emergency officials are there. It doesn't appear the suspect has been caught. We have a massive police presence here. We'll try to get more information as it unfolds. This is insane, folks. Come on in. There has been a shooting. They're saying a suspect has opened fire. An NYPD officer and a civilian shot in Midtown Manhattan. Apparently somebody went in an office building. You know, this is a little bit at the end of rush hour. Seems like there's choppers up in the sky. Let me look at the flight radar.
Hey guys, we need everybody east the park now. East the park.
They're evacuating the block.
You don't want to sight, right? You don't want to sight. Hey brother, I know you're trying to get your shot. You get your shot over there, all right?
Thank you, FPNY guy. Thank you. Seems like they're making people move from the block. So we still got a fluid situation here. I don't think they got the suspect. We'll get more information. Hopefully they move the feed. Says something on the thing. East 53rd. East 53rd. Some people in the chat saying that they are far from the area and they've seen a massive police response. This is in the area 345 Park Avenue and East 52nd Street. Okay, people are saying the guy's dead on the 31st floor. We'll try to understand more what happened here. I know we're going to get a press conference. We'll try to figure out for sure if the suspects are alive or not. EDS says the guy on the scanner, they said the suspect is dead on the 31st floor. we will get more information.
Look at me. Hold on, y'all. Hey. Let's shake that.
All right, so we got different views, different perspectives of what's going on, folks. Come on in. JLR investigates. There has been a shooting, Manhattan, and we're trying to get some information. Now, some people said in the chat we got the 31st floor of a building somewhere on 52nd and Park Avenue area.
Because it looks like everything is going on at the building to our left behind this white corner there.
All right, so we have a situation in the building. We're also going to break down shortly exactly what's being put out there so we can understand. Apparently, someone opened fire. All right, so Fox 5, New York, NYPD officers were seen with guns drawn after reports of gunfire erupting in Midtown Manhattan. Look at this. Look at that. A very heavy police presence was observed near 51st Street and Park Avenue. Witnesses report hearing gunshots. NYPD and Sheriff's Department officers in protective gear were seen with guns drawn. Apparently, they tended to an individual on the street that was shot. And here we are, trying to see a aerial perspective of what's going on here in the 51st, 52nd Park Avenue area of New York. Heavy police presence for sure out there. And apparently there might be something in this building. But no, though we had a member in the chat say that something on a scanner said suspect might be dead on the 31st floor. We're going to try to get more information about
position. See if we can't get a better view. They all went inside. I think this right in the corner there.
All right, they went inside this building here.
Yeah, this will be a good position if we can hold up here.
We'll see exactly what's going on in this building. Apparently, the suspect went into the building, the shooter. We shall see. Okay, here we go. We got a picture of the suspect right here. Oh, my goodness. Somebody walking in Manhattan with an... Wow. Look at that. Armed to a T.
Right here, go ahead.
First image of the shooter.
For Dan or Jim.
Holy smokes. So we're going to wait and see what happens in this building here. They got the officer.
Yeah, just doing video, no voiceover.
They got the door open. They sent a rack of law enforcement, NYPD, it looked like, armed to a T, into this building. We are in New York. crazy situation going on right now in real time. There is a picture of the shooter. As we wait and see. I'm going to put the scanner up so we can listen in on the scanner too. Top feeds right now. All right, here we are. We're at a different location here. We're going to listen in. All right, I have the scanner on, so you'll be able to hear the scanner also if anything goes down. I got the local scanner there. So we'll wait and see. All right, folks, we have a active situation.
Incident is happening is just 1 block from here, okay? 1 block from here at 51st Street. And then you would make a right. It's down that side street, 51st and Park Avenue. Now, again, I want you to go ahead, push into the mayor, because I want to stay on top of what the mayor's doing and see at what point they are actually, the mayor is going, he went underneath the yellow tape. He is now approaching 51st Street. Let's go over here, Gus. Just get in the middle of the street. Just go ahead. Get over there. I want you to stay on with the mayor, if you would, please. Okay. And again, Linda Schmidt with Fox 5 News here. I'm out here with Gus Batista. He is my cameraman. And we are reporting from Midtown. Now, again, the mayor just crossed the yellow police line. He is walking toward 51st Street, which is 1 block from here. And then if you would make that right on 51st, it is just down, excuse me, a short distance, which is the entryway to where my colleague, Matt Otimus, and we'll be talking to Matt here again in just a moment, where he saw all of the officers with their guns drawn at the door, and then saw officers, multiple officers, carrying out someone. It appeared to be a man in a uniform who apparently had been shot. So Gus, go ahead. We can just show the rest of the scene here. Again, we have state police on the scene, literally hundreds of police officers. Now, because I'm monitoring, hold on just a second, because I'm monitoring other sources of information, I'm not able to make phone calls to my sources while I'm going live here and reading information coming in from some of my colleagues. But again, my colleague Arthur Sheehan posting for us, and I'm just reading what he wrote. For background, officers on paid detail are technically off duty. Okay. New Yorkers commonly see them in the businesses that pay for additional security. Okay. The gunman walked in with an AR-15 in clear view. Do we have pictures? I mean, I'm looking at the pictures right now.
A picture up like there.
Yeah, one of our colleagues, Peter Fassini, just posted 2 pictures of the suspect walking in, and he is walking down, it looks like Park Avenue. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, broad daylight, right past the Bank of America building?
Yep, that's the little Esplanade, Bank of America. There's Park Avenue right there.
Oh my gosh. Walks in, the guy's wearing, hold on just a second. Oh, okay, hold on just a second. All right. The police department is making us move away from the location where we are now, but I want to continue to describe, I hope you guys have the pictures. The suspect apparently wearing a blue blazer. It looks like a navy blue blazer, either a light blue or a white collared shirt. Sneakers, like black and white sneakers. Looks like to be like a pair of dark jeans, carrying what appears to be an AR-15. Oh, sorry, I gotta move. Cops are yelling at us. Okay, thanks guys, be careful. carrying what appears to be an AR-15. He's holding it down by his side as he is walking, and he seems to be walking with purpose. It's not like he's just casually walking along the street. It looks like he is intent, obviously, with an AR-15 of carrying out something destructive. But what's really striking me about this is that it's broad daylight, and apparently nobody in this moment noticed that this man was walking with an AR-15. And the picture, it is absolutely clear.
Yeah, you can really see it. Hold on there with the mod.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, my colleague, Matt, let's hop back in here. Just go ahead, leave that back there. That's right. We're all helping each other out here, okay? This is breaking news. We haven't been experiencing anything like this in quite some time. So now, you were here when all of this went down. You're just on your way home from work.
I was going home. I was going to Grand Central to catch my train and go home. I had my headphones on, and I tell you, I won't wear my headphones again because I saw a rush of people coming past me. A lot of people, and it didn't look like just normal 1 or 2 people walking by me.
Right.
It was a rush of people, and I took my headphones out, and somebody said gunshots. And then I didn't hear anything. And then so I started walking back to check it out. And then somebody said gunshots, shooter, active shooter. And then I saw cops going into the Bank of America building on the side entrance with the guns drawn. And then that's when I just kind of backed up and just see what was going on. Then a bunch of people started running out of that building. And then that's when I saw 4 police officers bringing out another individual that was in a uniform that looked injured. They were carrying him out.
Okay, all right. So the gentleman that carried out was wearing some type of a uniform, but again, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it
what his job.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a security guard or if it was a police officer. It was wearing a blue uniform, and they were carrying him by his arms and his legs out of the rushing out of the building.
And the thing of it is too, because we are in the news business, where whenever anything like this happens, we just don't walk by it. Matt stops, of course, and he starts taking video of the different things that he had seen. And you posted that video of showing it was multiple police officers with their guns drawn at the door. And then you saw the SWAT team showing up.
Then I saw the SWAT team. Later on, I saw the SWAT team going in. The police presence became much more heavy, more police officers, lots of sirens, ambulance. It all started that you see right here.
He's a colleague of ours. Matt works for Fox 5. Yeah. Some of our colleagues here from some of the other TV stations thinking that Matt is just somebody else who's walking along the street here who saw something, so they wanted to try to do an interview with him. So, which is understandable. So now, then you overheard people talking, some witnesses. What did you hear?
We were there. I was there with my camera, kind of recording as much as I could. I did speak to an individual that was closer to the church, where there's a lot of people that kind of sit there and wait for. I think it's food donations or they're there.
Right.
And they said that a woman said that she saw somebody with an AR-15 going into the building. And then so that confirms what Arthur Chen said in the photograph, confirms what that eyewitness saw, that there was somebody walking the building with an AR-15 in sneakers. Just going right into the building.
And once again, I'm looking at that video that our colleague Peter Fassini from a law enforcement source, and it is the picture of the alleged suspect. Mm-hmm. And again, walking, it's really stunning to me.
Yeah.
Walking in broad, after everything that we do in this business, it's still shocking to me when I see something like this. But it's broad daylight.
Yeah, especially across that esplanade, which is wide open. You wonder if he had to get out of a car. How did he get there? He obviously did not walk down the street with an AR-15 all the way the entire way. So you just don't know where he came from, if he got out of a vehicle or what. Because I didn't see anything that looked like that, and nobody was reacting until people just started running after they said they heard gunshots. And later on, when I was going back and checking these out, I did hear a gunshot. So
okay, now something else, and this is information again that's coming in from our colleagues who are back at the station and other locations, and they are reaching out to their sources to get the information. My colleague Arthur Chen reporting from a source. Now, again, all this information is preliminary, that the shooter ended up shooting himself, self-inflicted gunshot wound found on the 33rd floor. Okay, let me see here. The person that you saw being carried out of the building was taken to New York Presbyterian, which is not far from here at all, one of the best hospitals in the world. And apparently that person is in bad shape, according to my colleague, Arthur Chian. I mean, we can only pray that whoever this person is, that they pull out of this. But again, he is hearing from a source that the shooter shot himself, that he is down on the 33rd floor of the building. So talk to me a little bit more. Hold on just a second. The gunman walked in with an AR-15 again in clear view, which you and I have been talking about. He was also wearing sunglasses, dark sunglasses, navy jacket, black jeans, and sneakers. Let me see if did anything. Okay, hold on. Confirm.
And Linda, the police were in there for a while. They were.
Oh, sorry, cops are coming through here. I gotta move. Get over to the other side.
We got the mayor, the police chief, commish. They're moving people out of the area.
You got to get over. Just get over.
Apparently, there's a vehicle coming through.
Okay, we got an NYPD vehicle coming down.
Are we keeping the
50th
picture of the
Street here.
suspect?
We don't know if they're parking there to keep us at distance. That might be the situation now. Because all of the police officers that are out here, they're dealing with, no, it looks like he's backing up to park. The situation that they're dealing with, not only do they have to keep the area contained where the active shooter went into the building, but they have to keep pedestrians safe. And New York City is one of those areas where,
All right, we got different feeds, different perspectives here. Stay with us, folks. So apparently the shooter did a self-inflicted gunshot wound to himself on the 33rd floor of this building here on, now they're saying 51st and Park Avenue. Initial reports were 52nd and Park. In that general area, it looks like Park, 51st, 52nd. Massive police presence in the area here as we try to get an understanding of what happened here and if there's others out there. I'm sure, you know, what in the world's going on here? You got a guy, AR-15 rifle, toting it around in Manhattan. Scary stuff. One police officer shot. That's the reports. Unknown on the condition of that officer as we try to get more information about this situation. So there's a lot of different feeds and things that are going up right now. 345 Park Avenue, the location of the reported incident. It goes on to say,
great coverage by Tom Winter, as usual, giving a clear picture here. And I think you mentioned that it really ups the ante when we have an assailant with a rifle on Park Avenue in Manhattan. That's unusual in New York. I mean, we do see handgun attacks more there because of the strict gun laws. So a rifle always ups the ante, Tom, because of the velocity of the weapon and the wounds it can produce. But I would just say a little bit of good news for, you know, there's an officer who's wounded and there's a civilian who's wounded. And, you know, we went through so many shootings in ATF over the years, and we had to talk to the trauma surgeons all the time. And one thing they always told us, if you're shot and you're alive, you know, you got a good chance of surviving.
all right, so we're back here, different feeds, different perspectives of what's going on. Who is this shooter? Who is the shooter? I believe I can hear that reporter in the background talking. So they are pushing people back a significant distance here, folks, with the situation in New York City. All right, so what they're saying is the building here's what's interesting. The building that this
This is
incident happened was the NFL and Bank of America building.
security usually, depend on the building. Maybe an off-duty NYPD officer working a second job in uniform, maybe in plain clothes. But if somebody walks in with a rifle and there's a policeman there, we could certainly see that could be a possible place where a confrontation happened quickly. And like you say, unless you have a key to the elevator or knowledge, or you're an insider.
Hey, Jim, I'm just going to pause. Hey, Jim.
Who's an insider.
Yeah, Jim, sorry. We just got some new information I want to report. Jonathan Dienstover at our partners at NBC New York, WNBC, is reporting that he's hearing the active shooter has shot himself on the 33rd floor of the building in question. There is also a photo that is being circulated that NBC New York is also showing of a man wearing a suit holding an assault rifle. Tom, I know you've seen this photo. We're going to put it up once it comes in. We have it now.
Yeah,
okay, so
our control room is in the process. In fairness to them, I just sent it to them, so they're going to have it's going to take them a second to bring it up as fast as they are. But the photo very clearly depicts an individual armed with a long gun, alluding to what I was talking to you about just a few moments ago. You're looking
this
at
is the
it right
photo
there.
Here.
Yeah, so this was captured from a surveillance camera, and the NYPD is looking for this individual, possibly in connection with this active shooting incident. I don't think I need to do a lot of description here. He's depicted as holding what is clearly a long gun there, believed to be an assault rifle. He's got it in his right hand. Unclear to me, if you look at his shirt, he's got this light blue shirt here. See how it appears to be a little puffed out in front, Tom? There was
it's untucked too.
Yeah, and untucked. So there was some question as to whether or not this individual had some sort of a bulletproof vest. It's not clear at all to us, at least initially here. Perhaps it is to the police department, who specifically this individual is, what their background is, what their history is. That'll all be part of the investigation, but they are awfully fast. And I can tell you they're headed down a track on this right now.
Jim, you're a former ATF agent. I want you to walk our viewers through the weapon that we're looking at right here, and specifically two things: what we see on the muzzle there, and also the type of ammo that we're seeing, the jacket, if you will, on this weapon here. Talk to our viewers what you're noticing.
Yeah, it's a military style rifle. It looks to be, it's hard to see because his clothes are dark. I'm trying to get an outline of the receiver there. It may be an AR-15 variant. It looks like about a 30-round magazine sticking out of the back, and he's got a muzzle brake, or it could be a silencer or suppressor, as we call them, wrapped in some kind of gauze or tape. Looks like you might have a strap with the weapon as well. There's some kind of a khaki strap hanging down there, but clearly, I mean, that's a 30-round magazine he's got. He's got plenty of ammo to shoot there, and he's taken some pains to create some kind of a device for himself. It looks to be, it's hard because his leg is right, the black pants right behind the weapon. But and then, military style weapon, high velocity, rapid fire, certainly at least semi-automatic at the very least. The rapid fire could also be fully automatic. But,
and then Jim, you have a man, definitely he's wearing sunglasses. He's got the rifle, the assault rifle, right by his side, and he appears to casually be strolling in. What does this tell you about his motives and what he wants to do, or what he thinks?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the thing to notice, Tom. The stroll. I mean, he's definitely on his mission. He's ready to go. Look at how he's striding in there. He wants to do this. He's ready to go. He's got his weapon, his sunglasses, and he's walking briskly toward his target. What is the reason for that? We don't know. Is he, like I said before, he could be an insider, somebody done him wrong. This could be revenge. He wants to get somebody in there. We don't know. Or it could be a complete stranger attack. It's just too hard to tell.
Yeah.
At the moment. But certainly the little things we can glean, it looks like he has a pair of, running shoes or sneakers on. Just a jacket. That's not necessarily a suit coat, but just a blue jacket, some black trousers or jeans maybe, and that rifle, which he's got down by his side. When a person holds a rifle low like that, they're not right at the place they want to shoot. In other words, he's trying to make an egress into where he wants to shoot. If he was right where he wanted to shoot, he'd have his other hand under the stock of the weapon. You know, he'd be advancing like you see the SRT officers advance or SWAT officers advance. But no, he's not at the place yet that he wants to do the shooting yet. And so where he keeps that rifle low, it's almost like you won't notice it. You will, but you might not, because he's not holding it up high and spinning it around. And this is sometimes how guys get into buildings. I can think of many cases, and you can too, like this, where people just put the rifle down and just walk in.
Yeah.
But this building might have had some security right there in the front, and maybe that's what happened. Tom will, I'm sure, dig it out. The reporter will find out. The 33rd floor, that's going to play into this somehow. Why that floor? You know, why is he there? And he commits suicide there. So, you know, there's going to be an interesting set of facts to unravel as why the shooter is there.
Yeah, and how he's able to get that far. Tom Winter has some new reporting. Tom, let's get you in here.
Sure. So I just want to be clear with the specific floor. We've heard that change several times, and that's not surprising to me, because an individual is going to report certain things on certain floor. Which one did he go to? Of course, there's stairwells, there's fire escapes, so the fire stairwells. So this individual could have traveled up and down floors. So I just want to mention that. So this person was described to us as an individual that they're looking for. They believe in connection with this incident. We're still waiting to get some name and other details from this person. We do know that one police officer working a paid detail was shot as a result of this incident. We know that at least one civilian has been critically injured as a result of this incident, and it is possible that other civilians could have been injured. I put a bit of an asterisk on that, Tom. You can only
Now look at this. They're searching a vehicle here. They're searching a vehicle in the middle of the road here, which is interesting. Does it belong to the shooter? Is this the shooter's vehicle? This could be the shooter's vehicle. So what's going on here with this? Left in the middle of the road there. What's going on here? Definitely this has connected in some way, shape, or form. One thing I want to know though is was the NFL the target? Could the NFL have been a target? 33rd floor. So we're putting out information in different, look at them, searching the vehicle. Magnolia put on the chat at the bottom, the office building is where Blackstone and NFL headquarters are located. So that is interesting there. Governor Hochul of New York has been briefed about the situation, put out on X. I've been briefed on the active shooter situation in Midtown Manhattan. She's asked New Yorkers and visitors to avoid the area, including the building area of 52nd Street and Park Avenue and 3rd Avenue near the incident. So this could be the shooter's vehicle here. Who is this person? This person was like a gangster, literally holding an AR-15 rifle. It's like a gangster. So who is this shooter? Is this the shooter's vehicle? What are they doing here? We are live watching this all unfold. The massive police response, hundreds and hundreds of law enforcement. And then I also saw state police and other agencies there. They're saying at least one officer and 2 civilians shot at 345 Park Avenue in Manhattan. So now they're saying 2 civilians. So we continue to get more information that continues to trickle out. Now the question is, who is the suspect and why did they do this? Other information, Mayor Eric Adams, who you saw was on the scene. Mayor Adams there. Commissioner Tisch was there. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said on X, there's an active shooter investigation in Midtown Manhattan. New Yorkers, there is an active shooter investigation taking place in Midtown right now. Adams wrote, please take proper safety precautions if you're in the vicinity and do not go outside if you're near Park Avenue and East 51st Street. Police seen stopping and looking inside cars near the scene. Officers near the lot, because they got the surveillance, right? So they know who comes in and out, and they have an idea of how this guy got there, right? How we covered the case of Luigi Mangione, and they knew every step that Luigi Mangione took, followed his foot tracks. Every single corner has surveillance and whatnot. They know at this point, it's fair to say that NYPD know how the shooter arrived to this location. It's pretty fair to say they know. So for them to be in this vehicle here, to me, this thing is connected. There's cameras everywhere. They know the footprints already of this suspect. They know how he probably got into the city. They're retracing the steps. Probably saw on their surveillance that the shooter maybe got out of this vehicle. Why is the vehicle literally in the middle of the street? Did the person just get out in the middle of the street? It's pretty crazy. It looks like a luxury vehicle. People are saying it's a BMW in the chat. What in the heck happened here, and what was the motive here? Who was the target, and why? Who is the suspect? So we're trying to get more information. New York puts this information out pretty quickly. We put the picture of the suspect up while they search this vehicle here. So we're going to wait and get an understanding of what's going on. In the meantime, I'm reading the reports that are coming out. Active shooter situation. Law enforcement, however, doesn't say that I see that the shooter is dead. Though we're going to try to get an understanding if the shooter is really dead. It's believed that the shooter, according to media, is dead. Wild scene today in New York City at the end of rush hour. Chaos. The AR-15 style type of weapon here. I believe this is his vehicle. I think this is the shooter's vehicle. Now, we're going to put mugshots and all that as soon as the individual gets out there. I'm assuming that the person has a criminal record. We just don't know at this time. So we're waiting to get an understanding. Thank you for watching JLR and Magnolia Investigates as we break this in real time. A crazy situation in Manhattan, 51st Street, Park Avenue. They say the address 345 Park Avenue. It is in Manhattan. And center part of Manhattan. Matter of fact, Google Maps have already located this, marked this place as Midtown East shooting on the maps, on the Google Maps. So they're definitely trying to keep everyone away from this area. As we saw at the beginning of this feed, pushing people back, getting out of that area. There's 5 choppers in the sky right now in this area, all over the place. New York, they'll respond very quickly and swiftly from these crazy acts. Still trying to get an understanding of what exactly happened. And we'll hear a press conference. It's just when. There's no doubt in my mind there will 100% be a press conference, probably subsequent multiple press conferences. You will hear from Mayor Adams. Looks like this is the suspect's vehicle. Suspect's vehicle here, folks. JLR Magnolia Investigates. So what is in there? What do they get? We shall see what they have. Explosives? More weapons? manifesto bullets. It appears the shooter also had a bulletproof type vest on them. We shall wait and see. Police show person shows person in New York. Photo shows person in New York. Police are searching for in connection to the shooting. So it's weird because the reports are coming out saying they're still looking for this person. So that was just posted by the media here. NBC News. We'll wait and see what we get out of this crazy shooting. That to me looks like a BMW. Welcome everyone. JLR Investigates. I see a lot of people contributed. Thank you, FDNY guys 61677. Also, the New York City Sheriff's Office Special Response Team, Port Authority Police Emergency Service Team, and the MTA Police Emergency Service Teams are at the location. Thank you for that. Benny V, welcome again. Thank you for being a member. Sherry O says earlier, pay attention, everyone. They're coming for law enforcement in these sanctuary cities. Pray for Baltimore, Maryland. I'm assuming you're from Baltimore, Sherry. Thank you for the comment. Mego, thank you for being here for 15 months. Thank you. Appreciate that. Jeff M, this is outrageous. That is your trademark. If you're still here, Jeff M, it is outrageous. This is absolutely crazy. And EDS Design Lab, if you're still in the chat, thank you for sharing about the guy is dead on the 31st floor. It ended up being on the 33rd, but you were the first one to share, about the suspect possibly being dead on the multiple floors up. So I appreciate that. Norma Davis, thank you for the gifted membership. Robin Lynn Griffin, thank you for the gifted memberships to 5. Appreciate that. More members as we evaluate in real time what is happening. What is happening around this country? Was this a targeted attack at law enforcement or what? Artur Red, if I'm saying your name right, Artur, thank you. Welcome to JLR Investigates. And William Kaufman, earlier, if you're still in the chat, thank you very much for that. Jolly Sand, thank you. Thank you, Jolly Sand. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very grateful. Another gifted membership. All right, so folks, we are still evaluating this situation as we cover True Crime 24/7, 365. We take us to our worst nightmare, the biggest city in the United States of America. And we're trying to evaluate the situation here. What we do know is 2 civilians have been shot. 1 officer has been shot, and possibly the suspect, who you see in the right corner, possibly dead. But we're going to get confirmation. The news is reporting it. People in the chat said the scanner said it, but I'm looking for an official update from law enforcement. And if there is one, please share in the chat. People are also on Twitter saying suspect dead, suspect dead. Okay, Grok is even now saying that the suspect is dead per ABC7. There reports are unconfirmed reports of 6 people shot now. 6 people shot. 6 victims here. 6 victims. Unconfirmed reports of 6 victims, according to Grok. So we'll see. We'll see if that number keeps going up. What they're saying is at least 2 shot. Suspect seen walking into a building. So it could be more than 2. Could be more than 2. At least 2 shot. That seems like that is the consensus here. Is that Litzy? Litzy D. Salazar. Thank you for being here and welcome. Crazy. New York City, the biggest city in one of the most busiest places on earth on U.S. soil, Manhattan. And now you have a situation here. It's just wild, folks. Now, we don't know if anyone was shot in the building. And we're trying to understand exactly what happened here. They are searching. It appears this got to be the suspect's vehicle. This has to be the suspect's vehicle that they're searching right now. We'll see when the press. Yeah, at least 2 shot, suspect dead on the 33rd floor of the Blackstone NFL building. Now, we hear the NFL building. What do we got going on with NFL? Like, or is this like NFL executives? We'll try to find out if that was the target or this person just ran in there, or I went in there because they wanted to hide in there. Okay, the commissioner has put out the shooter has been neutralized. So that is a report that just came out officially 1 minute ago. Shooter has been neutralized. Commissioner Tisch put out on X, at this time, the scene has been contained and the lone shooter has been neutralized. She just put that out. All right, so we got confirmation now, shooter neutralized. Workers at a nearby building told to shelter, stay away from windows. A nearby building, people were fleeing indoors there, 399 Park Avenue, when there was a shelter in place at the time. I don't know if the shelter in place has been lifted in that general area. We told people to stay away from the windows. Crazy scene. So we are live looking at this possibly suspect's vehicle here. All right, at least 2 shot. Crazy scene here in New York City. We'll just wait and see. We'll see what they get, what they pick up. They that confident that there's no bombs or anything in there? That's pretty brazen to be like that. You would think they would bring the robotic bomb people, the robots. NYC shooter kills NYPD officer. Oh, man. Critically injures 2 before doing harm to himself inside the Blackstone NFL headquarters. Was this attack on law enforcement? Crazy scene. Live look. Does look like officer died. The man barged into the 44th story building, which houses Blackstone and the NFL headquarters, armed with a rifle and opened fire at around 6:30 p.m. Oh, man. Now, the 33rd floor in that general area, who's housed up there? It's a housing financial firms and the NFL. Sources told the New York Post that the number of victims are expected to rise. And authorities scour the skyscraper in the aftermath of the mayhem. Uh-oh. This is bad. This is bad, folks. Could be multiple victims here. I mean, we might as well call it as it is. Mass shooting. At least one police officer was shot at the scene and died. 2 civilians were also struck by gunfire, one of which is in critical condition. There was images of people coming out of the building with their hands up. Annette, thank you, Annette. Thank you. Thank you. And Res, R-E-S, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. More memberships. Thank you. Barbie CP, thank you. Sarah with an H. Rudin Management Company, 33rd floor. Rudin family, Jewish heritage. Sarah with an H. Yeah, I want to know what's going on the 33rd floor. Uh-oh. Now, that is interesting. That is interesting what Sarah with an H said. Her comment a little bit earlier. Should have saw that earlier, but 33rd floor, Rudin Management Company. So we'll keep understanding of who this person's target was and why. The officer was killed was from the 47th precinct, but was working a paid detail for the owner of the building, Rudin Properties, at the time of the shooting. This is insane. Targeted attack, it looks like. A targeted attack. Somebody with a specific goal and agenda here. Not good, folks. Now, what do they got? Why? Why? Call this as it is. Terror attack. Terror attack. Terrorism. A terror attack. The shooter is now neutralized, according to Commissioner Tisch. That's great news there. Could be a sleeper cell. Somebody said sleeper cell. I don't think it was a bank robbery. I swear, I'll be honest. The photo of the person looks like a West Coast gangster. You know, like in an NWA video with the blue Compton shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Afro head, kind of looks like somebody from the West Coast, Los Angeles, to be honest. Like an AK-47 from like an NWA video. Like Eazy-E. Yeah, you know, like they used to wear those blue, I guess they were like prison garbs, the rappers back in the 80s and 90s. Crip. People said Crip. Crazy. All right, so we're going to continue to get information. We are watching live. This is live. This is they seem to be emphasizing on this vehicle. All right, so the gunman, though, did self-harm to himself. Maybe he was cornered. Margie Smith, Fluffy, thank you for being a member of JLR Investigates. as we hear in real time what in the heck is happening here. Terror attack. Let me just put in the word terror and see if people are, any media or anybody saying it's a terror attack. No mainstream media has identified this as a terror attack at this time that I see. But it's clearly terrorism. I mean, somebody doing this and going into a building, shooting people with an AR-15 rifle. It's like terrorism to me. But let's just continue to see what they get and understand what's going on here. What they get out of this vehicle. Look at all that. What is that? Look, there's the gun. There's the thing to hold the gun. The bag. See it? The bag to hold the gun right there. Shooter's car. Confirmed. I'll call it. That's the bag to hold the gun. For sure. AKA or AK-15 bag and a manifest. Look right there. Could be a manifest. Looks like some computer stuff or a notepad or something. Some sort of electronic devices. Yeah, this is definitely the suspect's vehicle for sure that he arrived in. The vehicle. You see that bag? Let's see what else they get out of this thing. Manifesto. A lot of people always say manifestos. I'm sure there is some sort of writings. They're pushing people back. They found evidence. They found evidence. Might be a long night, ladies and gentlemen. What is that? What in the heck is that? What are they finding in this guy's vehicle? All right, what is that? Does anyone know what that silver thing is there? Windshield cover. People are saying windshield cover. Because it's hot out, right? It's hot. Sunshade. Hot out. What's the temperature in New York City? It's hot in New York City. It's hot all across the country. 88. It's hot. Yeah, so they found things inside the shooter's vehicle right here for sure. As you get a more understanding what in the heck happened here. We don't know how many deaths there are. We are live in New York City, 51st Street, Park Avenue area. We don't know how many victims there are, and we're going to wait for a police press conference. FBI is at the scene. A team from the Office of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York is at the scene. The interim U.S. Attorney for the region, Jay Clayton, has set up a command post to assist with the shooting in New York City, and local FBI agents are at the scene. All right, so the FBI is at the scene also assisting with this matter. I expect a press conference and some information to come out very, very soon. People are like, what in the heck? A lot of tourists in this area. Business district. A lot of people. We're waiting for a press conference that I know is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. At least an update. They're saying now at least 6 people have been shot. News is reporting now that at least 6 people shot. So it went up. The number keeps going up. At least 6 shot. Blackstone in the NFL building. It's starting to get dark too. So we try to understand how many people have been shot. It appears at least 6. We are live at the scene. We're going to wait and see what happens here. Who is this guy? Who is the suspect? Everybody wants to know, who is the suspect? We shall wait and see if they identify this suspect.
Okay, so they want us to go live again. Not streaming, but actually live.
Oh, you know what's up that it's not? Yeah. Let's go over there because the background is good over there.
Okay.
Now they're saying the gunman has been identified as a guy named Shane Tamura. Shane Tamura from Nevada.
Yes. Yes.
Looks like the shooter's from Nevada. They're putting out a photo. Shane Tamura.
I'm gonna put it right here.
We have a name of the suspect. It's interesting because we were just covering a Nevada mass shooting, so I wonder if any of them are connected in any way. I'm just putting that out there because this guy here is from Nevada, and we were just covering a shooting at a casino in Nevada, a mass shooting where someone opened fire. I'm not saying that anything's connected, but that's very, very strange.
Now on his way to the hospital, he's confirmed that the shooter has been neutralized. They're searching now afterward the entire building all over again.
Shooter.
Okay, you're coming to us next, but you got to hold on because we got to get a light working on the camera, okay? So Gus, I might have you just like come here because nobody's driving here. Come here, we'll go down there to see everything that's going on.
All right, so it says tentatively identified. So I just want to put that out there. But they are posting someone that looks just like the same individual. They're posting an ID badge online, and they're saying, I mean, this is spreading like wildfire, folks. Every minute, people are tweeting out a name called Shane Tamura, Tamura. And we're talking about major accounts here on X. Shane D. Tamura, Tamura. And they're posting a picture of a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department concealed firearms permit. I mean, people are literally putting it out there. So we shall see if he ends up being the suspect. Middle initial D. From Nevada. Las Vegas, Nevada. That is interesting. All right, so we are back here at the live at the scene. JLR investigates. Probably know who the shooter is. Tamura. Tamura. That is the name that's being circulated all over the place. So we'll wait. We'll wait. We'll wait. I mean, if that's not him, if that's not the name, a lot of people are going to be doing a lot of deleting their accounts or deleting their posts because they're spreading this guy's name all over the place. Now, let me look around while I'm here to see if I can find more about the shooter. And we can see if we get this guy's name. Apparently, this guy might be a football player from the past. Let me see. Granada Hills. Where's Granada Hills? There's someone with the same name. Maybe played football in 2015. But it might not be this. It could be somebody with the same name. They're throwing this guy's name out there. NFL employees were told to hide after an active shooter stormed into the building, which includes the league's headquarters in New York on Monday. So we'll continue to get information. And then we're also going to wait for this press conference if it comes. I'm sure we'll get a press conference soon on this, on JLR Investigates. We'll understand who this shooter is, why the shooter did this. In New York City, active scene 51st, 52nd. We're talking Park Avenue. Area of New York City, 345 Park Avenue. Apparently inside the building. Self-inflicted gunshot wound to himself. NBC News says leaders in New York City are reacting to the shooting. Democratic elected leaders from New York are responding to the shooting with messages of prayers and concerns for those affected. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries wrote on X that he was deeply disturbed by the shooting, praying hard for the brave NYPD officer impacted and all other victims of this tragedy. Representative Richie Torres referred to the shooting as a shocking act of terror. Torres said the shooting served a grim reminder of the persistent danger posed by firearms, the hardening of hatred in our society, and exceptional courage of NYPD officers who risked their lives in order to protect the rest of us. We'll see what else is being put out there from this terrible, terrible, crazy shooting. It's the NFL headquarters, Glenda says. DD, thank you for the comment. I was watching another podcast, and they were playing a cell phone video, and a witness said that the gunman was shouting, "Free Palestine." That's interesting. Green-eyed PI. AK-15 bag and a manifest in the car. She said that earlier when we were watching the car. Thank you, Vicky Bozdet. Tijuana, Mexico. Tijuana. Welcome, Tijuana, Mexico. Welcome. Everyone from Tijuana, welcome. All right, so we're trying to get in, more in-depth of what's going on here. You know that there's going to be a press conference here. They're going to have to share some stuff, and they will. They will share information. I don't know what happened to the feed here. We'll continue to wait for different feeds to pop up. Crazy scene. New York City. JLR investigates. I don't know where the shooter is going, or I don't know where this screen is going. Looks like we are in this vicinity here where they've set up a perimeter around this building. I think it's like a 1-block radius. New York City Mayor Eric Adams said tonight that multiple people have been shot and injured in the Manhattan gunfire. Unfortunately, we had a shooting here with multiple injuries. The perpetrator, the lone perpetrator, is neutralized at this time, Eric Adams says. So we got that. Those who are in the building, we're asking you to remain inside as police officers are doing a floor-by-floor search, he said. So now we got a different feed up in this general area, just a massive crime scene. So what they're doing right now in this building are doing a floor-by-floor search to see if there's more victims. Maybe there's another perpetrator out there. Probably not, but they gotta sweep the building. They got to sweep the building. Here is the gunman on the right for people that are coming into the chat. We are covering this in real time. So there's conflicting reports. Some reports are saying at least 6 shot, while some are staying firm at 1 police officer and 2 civilians shot. I just want to put that out there. Okay, so CNN said 5 minutes ago the suspect is believed to be a 27-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada, has an expired private investigator license. He had a concealed carry license for a handgun. So CNN is now reporting that the suspect is from Las Vegas. Suspect from Las Vegas. So kind of goes in with the guy everyone's talking about. I'm going to do a background on him while we're here. Shane. New York likes to get that information out very quickly of who these people are, unlike these other cities that never put the person's name out there. Usually New York City, the suspect usually gets identified very, very quickly and put out there. But why? Why would somebody with a private investigating license and a concealed carry travel from Las Vegas and go to New York to do this? Not much on this guy, though. He got a brother that lives in Las Vegas or Los Angeles area. Won't say his name. A lot of family in Las Vegas. Shooter has family in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. If that's the name of the shooter, but that's, I mean, that name is going around like wildfire, so. Possible this guy traveled from Las Vegas to the area. Dude, not much on his family at all, which is strange and bizarre. All right, so the Post has some good information out. I'm going to read the information that's being put out by the New York Post. It's saying rifle-toting New York City shooter Shane Tamura kills five people dead. Holy smokes. 5 dead. Mass shooting, folks. Mass shooting. And injures 6. Before turning the gun on himself at Blackstone NFL headquarters. A police officer and at least 4 other people were shot and killed and several others injured by a crazed gunman who stormed a swanky Midtown skyscraper Monday evening before turning the gun on himself. The 27-year-old maniac, identified by sources as Shane Tamura, barged into the 44-story building, which houses Blackstone and the NFL headquarters, armed with a rifle and opened fire at around 6:30 p.m. during the evening rush hour. He probably did that so police couldn't get there. Rush hour. Sending workers running for their lives. A witness on the first floor said it sounded like a barrage of shots, like an automatic weapon, like a high-capacity weapon. Chilling images show the gunman, who's from Las Vegas, calmly strolling across the Park Avenue skyscraper's entry plaza with an assault rifle at his side before carrying out the carnage. Sources told the Post the number of victims are expected to rise, and authorities searched the skyscraper in the aftermath. Holy smokes. This is insane, folks. 5 people dead. Guy traveled from Las Vegas. He has, it appears he has no ties to the New York City area. So 5 dead. This is nuts. Got 5 dead from this. At least. New York Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they believe the individual acted alone. Shane. His name is Shane Tamura. Shane Tamura. All right, we're going to go around and see what some of the networks are saying. Stay with us, folks, as we get a more understanding of what's happened here in New York City. There's also another picture of the suspect here, the shooter. Shane Tamura, shooter.
Surrounding buildings near the scene of the shooting are being allowed to leave, are being allowed to go home. As you can see here, it's still pretty chaotic here in Midtown Manhattan. Just over that way is 345 Park Avenue, the building, the site of the shooting. The situation here is still extremely intense. It's clear that the investigation is underway. You can just see the amount of police officers and firefighters and other units that were deployed. This was very much an all hands on deck response to this active shooting situation, a situation that is extremely unusual here for Midtown Manhattan. But as my colleague Stephen Romo pointed out, it is something that people do now have in the back of their minds. It was around 6 p.m. in the evening when all of this unfolded, news got out of this active shooter situation. I arrived here as they were setting up the barricades, as a manhunt was underway for the gunman. Now to hear that gunman killed himself inside the building, certainly people here in Midtown Manhattan are breathing a sigh of relief at that news. Still, it's a very chilling incident. We're still trying to understand how many casualties, how many people were shot. We understand that at least one civilian and at least one police officer were shot as a result of what happened here. We're getting harrowing stories from inside of 345 Park Avenue, including pictures of office workers doing everything they could to survive, taking desks, taking couches, taking chairs, creating a barricade to prevent the shooter from potentially entering their place of work. Just chilling details. I was speaking to one man who was here trying to listen to the police radio for updates as that manhunt was underway. He wanted news of his wife. He knew his wife worked on the 23rd floor of 345 Park Avenue. And he wanted to know if she was okay. And it was a very, very tense hour-long wait for that news. Finally, she was able to text him that she was fine. He could breathe a sigh of relief. They have now gone home, but it just gives you a sense of this disruption, of the terror that people felt here in Midtown Manhattan tonight, Gotti.
And in terms of some of those harrowing stories that you're hearing about from inside of the building, the barricading, what did people do in that building?
Well, we have obtained a still footage from inside one of the offices. This was a very large building, 44 stories, a place of work for hundreds potentially. And it showed very clearly the chaos and the panic inside. In one still image, you can see chairs, tables, office furniture stacked up against the door, people grabbing anything they could in the event that the shooter entered, as I said, their place of work. Unclear if the shooter made it to that particular office. And we're waiting for more of those really chilling and harrowing details from authorities tonight. But it was very clear from that still image, just the sense of chaos and the sense of panic that people were feeling, not only inside the building, but also outside of that high rise.
And Aaron, we're hearing conflicting reports of how many people were injured. Again, the preliminary numbers that we heard was one police officer, one civilian. We just heard from a witness that said that they saw 3 people that were being brought out by bystanders and those that were rushing in to help. Have you heard any additional information when it comes to how many victims may have been shot here?
Yeah, well, what NBC has been able to confirm from law enforcement officials so far is at least one civilian and at least one police officer were shot as a result of this incident. That officer is believed to be in grave condition. The New York Mayor, Eric Adams, in his update tonight saying that multiple people had been shot, which would leave the possibility that more than 2 had been shot. But again, we're waiting for final confirmation from authorities on those details, Scotty.
And I mean, there is so much commotion that's happening. It's they are the streets of New York, but what is going on? People can hear, all the honking and it sounds like yelling. Is that related to the scene, or is that just normal New York?
There, people have come out here to this area, to see this area that's been cordoned off. They want to know what's going on. It is a point now of curiosity. Now that the situation has calmed somewhat, there are also some protesters who've gathered as well. They're protesting something completely different than what unfolded here in the early hours of this evening. But I would say it's still a very tense situation here in Midtown Manhattan. You can see just over this way that the people that have gathered to see what's going on, and is again, Gotti, it's a pretty tense situation. But at the moment, authorities are not letting anyone anywhere near that area over there, which is 345 Park Avenue.
Yeah, it looks like.
We're on. I got you. Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
way. It's only that way or that way. Yeah. This goes from 50 to 55. Yes, on one end. Grand Central. Grand Central, 42nd Street on Lexington.
You go in and there's a stairway.
All right, Shane Tamura, trying to dig in and do a deep dive on Shane Tamura, folks. JLR investigates. So we're also going to wait for more information. Apparently, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department gave this guy a concealed carry permit, which is even more crazy. But we're gathering more information on him, and we're seeing firsthand what in the heck is going on in this area.
That we've shown you walking into the building carrying that assault rifle. We're told he's identified as Shane Devon Tamura. He was born in 1998. We were told he's a former football player, and investigators are looking into whether he intended to target the NFL offices, and which are located inside that building. The investigation is still early on. And again, he apparently played high school football and some other sports. But this one-time football player apparently from Las Vegas, Nevada area, is identified by multiple law enforcement sources as Shane Devon Tamura, going into the building, opening fire, and later killing himself on the 33rd floor of that building along Park Avenue. We have an update in the casualty count, but again, we're going to be very cautious with these numbers since they've been changing moment by moment. And what we have is that from multiple law enforcement officials, the police officer who's working in that lobby, he is now shot and killed and pronounced dead at an area hospital. We are told there are at least 4 others who were hit by gunfire, and several are in critical condition. We are awaiting official word from the mayor and the city police, as well as the FBI, on additional conditions, but there's been differing accounts as to their conditions. So we're going to stick with 1 police officer dead and several others wounded in this shooting along Park Avenue. And again, the suspect, apparently Shane Devon Tamura, that according to multiple law enforcement sources, seen carrying an assault rifle, walking into the building, opening fire in the lobby, making his way to the 33rd floor, and then apparently taking his own life on the 33rd floor. Again, question as to whether they are looking into whether he was targeting the NFL offices located in that building. That is the very latest that we have at this hour, and we will continue to update as more comes in.
Jonathan, we know you are continuing to work your sources. We appreciate the up-to-the-minute details. We're going to have you covered here on air on NBC4 New York and online at NBCNewYork.com for any new updates. Make sure you have our app.
All right, we're going to go back to the other feed here.
It continues right now.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Shane Tamura. Oh, FBI. FBI's at the scene.
Clear the street. On the side.
down. He's gonna go to the car real quick, grab his phone charger, and have to. I feel like we're down that way, and then yeah, I feel like we're down that way, and then we're not.
I'm going back to Houston.
It was a little bit that way.
So yeah. I'm going like Sunday back to Houston. Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, good. Great. I don't know her well, but she's from I don't really know her well. Oh, gotcha.
Oh, no, yeah.
Gotcha. No. Oh, yeah. That's good, though. Oh, like, well, something during the show. Oh, but he's much older. She's an OG big guy.
Guys!
Going back that way, but not far down.
So we still got a crime scene. We're trying to get some information on Shane.
Nice. East or south?
Watch out!
Get off the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Here he is, and he's a former football player. So we have FBI at the scene. Former NFL football player. Not NFL football player, but a football player. But now they're think that he might have targeted the NFL. So we might have a football connection element here. Possible he targeted the NFL, and that was the intended target here.
I was in the West Village at the I was No, I was walking I walk right now. And I happened to go to Target. I was in Target for 10 minutes. I got makeup wipes if any girls need it, I guess. I have like 80 now. Yeah, no, I literally today I was all day I decided to I was gonna have to work. I know. And
Alright. Eastbound or southbound? Cannot go north. You have to go around.
Grand Central or go down that way and go to whatever the next stop is uptown.
All right, so we're still live in New York City, trying to get more understanding of what happened here.
So you're gonna have to go to Grand Central anyway. Shut down. Yeah. But I mean, like, I think people like MTA just shut. Oh, you still think I think people like where people are coming out. Can't go that way. It's only that way or that way right now. Am I in your video?
Well, I'm not recording, but it was shot.
A former football player.
That way or that way, not that way. No, it's closed. The MTA already closed it, so go to Grand Central, that's better.
It's third. Can you walk up third?
Yeah. Can't go that way.
You can't walk up. What avenue can you walk?
Oh, yeah, you can walk up that avenue.
You can walk up third?
Yeah, but if this section is closed off from 50th to 55th. That subway station is already taped up, MTA taped it up, so you're not going to be able to get in there.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Can't go that way or that way. So do all these people.
We're going to stay with it here and see if they provide additional information.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So you're in there? Yeah. I was on right. John, I knew I dropped the other side
Well, they just told us like
You're on JLR Investigates.
Adams, they're
This
still
is the
working right
scene
now.
earlier.
Governor Kathy Hochul, they've asked the public to stay away because they're still gathering evidence and doing some interviews. And you're looking at this video right now. You can see the officers with their weapons drawn, prepared to shoot in the event of something happening. Again, a shaky situation. They were standing at the door. You can see them right now peering in, trying to figure out if this man was working by himself, if he had intelligence inside, if he was going after a particular target. You're looking at him right now. You see in that yellow box, this is the suspect that reportedly walked into that building. And what he is holding on his right hand is that weapon. We're giving you a closer look right now. You can see him holding it. This is a major weapon. He's wearing sunglasses. He looks like a very sophisticated person, anyone who would be in this area, but for the fact that he's wearing a weapon. He's carrying this weapon, and he's walking very, very calmly into this building right now. This camera caught him, and investigators are now combing the area. They're trying to gather more camera footage to see how many other cameras caught him. And at what point was it clear that he was on this attack mission? You can look at that weapon, and you have to imagine the people around in the area, they look fairly calm. You can see those two gentlemen up in the center of your screen above him, all calm. This guy has a weapon. Again, we don't know a motive for this attack. We don't even know his identity right now. He's wearing sunglasses. Difficult to tell who this man is. You can even see people sitting around. No one was shocked as he was walking toward that building. That gives you an understanding of how calm he was as he approached the building, prepared to shoot people. We understand that he shot multiple people. We don't know what his goal was, how many more he wanted to kill. And eventually, we understand the initial reports are telling us that he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. At this point in the investigation, investigators want to know who he is, exactly where he lives, who he lived with, and they're going to be combing his internet history to find out if this was planned. You can see all the officers on your screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there, weapons drawn once again, because they didn't know if there were more shooters in this location. All they knew was that there was an active shooter, an officer down, 2 people shot, and then he's running up a building that had hundreds of people working in this building, housing some of the biggest names in finance. So there are a lot of high-profile targets. We don't know what connection he has. It's still too early to know what connection he has to this building. That's going to be the bigger question. Did he choose this building?
Did it mean something to him? We don't know these things right now. But what we do know is that an officer is shot, civilians are shot, and the city right now is in shock. Absolute shock. A scene like this we've seen unfold in a lot of different other countries, some parts of the U.S. But here, you can see this woman running outside. She has her bag. She's running outside after having been locked in. Another gentleman, you can see him in a suit and a tie. He's trying to run out of this building because there was an active shooter. Again, this is footage taken earlier in the day. There's no threat right now. But the type of emotional stress that this has put on the city is evident. And we now know, obviously, they're going to be investigating. How did a man with a weapon like this get so close to this building, manage to walk in? Everyone, you can see people, they're looking around in shock. Some walking calmly, wondering what exactly is happening. Again, if you are joining us right now, the headline is there was an active shooter in Midtown Manhattan. He walked into the building, 345 Park Avenue, one of the most high-profile buildings in the city. You can see a picture of him right now. We have circled him out in this yellow box, a close-up shot. You can see him with that weapon in his right hand, walking incredibly calmly into this building. Big questions tonight. Why this building? Was this planned? Is he connected to anyone? Did he have any intelligence? How was he able to get that close? And then, how was he able to get up to some of the upper floors? We understand that he was barricading himself.
Played out very quickly. It turns out it appears he was already in the building, though.
And they knew exactly who they were looking for by capturing those images of him.
That quickly that they did. Naveen Dhaliwal has been standing by. Naveen, what are you seeing now? Anything new?
Dick, I'm still at the 53rd and Park Avenue, actually west of Park Avenue on 53rd, and the crowds here are thinning out. I think they come to the realization that they're not going to be getting to the perimeter anytime soon. Rather, the FDNY and the police have been moving people away here on 53rd. Now, I haven't had a chance to see 345 Park Avenue because that is how extensive this perimeter is. You had mentioned before it was a one block radius from 345. It seems to be approximately, but the FDNY is still set up here. The gurneys are still here, which tells me that this is a very active, fluid situation where we could get more information on who else is involved. I did see the NYPD counterterrorism canines here. They've been sniffing through some of the parked vehicles that were already parked here. Delivery trucks. There's one contracting truck that is right here next to me. We saw a dog sniffing that truck earlier today, or just maybe not early, about 10-15 minutes ago. But as far as here, some of the individuals who work here initially very concerned, as you can imagine, because about 6:30 when they were working, security told them to leave. They didn't know why. And then alerts bumping on their phone that there was an active shooter. Then there's that concern as to when you get evacuated from your building, where do you go? You know, streets are closed. So a lot of confusion, a lot of concern. But once they learned that that shooter was found, there was that sigh of relief that I had mentioned earlier. And you can imagine that. But you had also had said that you don't know if someone else is involved. So people are very cautious at this time. They are going about their business, likely going home, because a lot of these businesses or buildings in here are closed off to employees and the general public. So no one's going through here anytime soon. But there is that slight sigh of relief that this shooter is not on these streets anymore. Back to you.
All right, Naveen, thank you. I was just checking some of the social media posts, and Mayor Eric Adams did post on X on his verified account, and it was posted less than a minute ago. And he writes, the NYPD is continuing to investigate the shooting incident in Midtown this evening that tragically struck down a police officer and injured a civilian. We extend the deepest sympathies to the officer's family and urge New Yorkers to avoid East 52nd Street between Park and Lexington Avenues. There's still much to be done in my administration's efforts to eradicate violent crime. The dedication displayed this evening by New York's finest is certain to get us there.
We want to bring in former NYPD Sergeant and adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, Felipe Rodriguez. And Felipe, from what you're seeing right now, what would you say that the NYPD and all the investigative agencies are doing right at this moment? What are they trying to find out?
at this point, remember, the most important thing is let's find out who this person is. All right. There seems to be a great deal of concern with that vehicle. As you can see, they were processing it. And what we have here is multi-layered, multi-agency response. We have K9 out there. So what NYPD is doing is working at 100 miles an hour to try to identify this person, see if there's any co-conspirators or anything else or any immediate threats that we should be aware. You can see the individual. I was able to get a picture of him. He walked into that building very nonchalantly. And, you know, it's almost like the way he was strutting in there, it was almost like he was on a mission. As we know, he did have a long gun, which is, once again, that poor officer that had to engage them was already outgunned from the beginning. Because you got to remember the type of ammunition that comes out of these, you know, long rifles, be it a 7.62 or 223. These are high velocity rounds, and they do inflict maximum damage. This poor officer had to basically, you know, had a shootout, and he was already outnumbered to begin with.
We can only imagine that Philippe, he may have been wearing some gear himself to protect himself, correct?
Yeah, it does. You know, we have our standard, you know, 3A, what you call level vest. But once we start talking about this type of ammunition, the velocity is, you know, I'm a firearms instructor, and the velocity and what I've seen and the type of damage that this does to the human body makes it very difficult for people to survive with this type of firearm, you know.
And when you're looking at this now, we see what appears to be video from earlier. We see police officers running around. So this would be video from earlier, perhaps right about when it happened. Christine and I were talking about the use of cameras. It's probably pretty likely that these cameras had already traced the fact that he went in the building and likely didn't come out. Does it happen that quickly in real time?
I mean, we do have the Retail Crime Center. You know, that was one of the things that was a couple of years back was started. It is state of the art. You'll be amazed how many cameras we have actually out there that are able to, you know, at the speed of light, bring information not only to the officers, you know, themselves in that office. With the NYPD cell phones that every officer is issued, it's almost an instantaneous level the way this information can be disseminated in a matter of seconds. So you know what? It does give sometimes a great tactical advantage. And at least when these officers were responding, they saw the type of weapon he had, and they knew that, you know, it was a real, you know, active shooter, imminent threat situation.
Well, Philippe, we're learning some new information. Perhaps you can comment on it. We understand that the suspect entered with, as you pointed out, an AR-style rifle, a long gun, and went to the 33rd floor and opened fire. And that's where also the two NYPD officers who were working in a security capacity were hit. So we know, it appears at least, Philippe, that he knew where he was targeting. He would, if he went to the 33rd floor.
Yeah, he didn't engage anyone else, as you can see. So he kind of knew what he was going to do from the beginning. So possibly an ex-employee at this time. And the most important thing is, you know what, we need to ID him because we need to find the motive. The motive is key to everything. We don't know if this is a lone wolf attack, if it's something that's, you know, coming from some sort of Middle East threat or anything like that at this point. So the key thing is, you know what, we need to ID him. We need to make sure that those, and you can see how they're processing the scene. They are concerned about improvised explosive devices. That's why they took that measure of being able to harness that type of hook on that vehicle, not physically opening it up themselves, their officers. So there is concern. After we identify this individual, hopefully either through cell phone records, you know, because it also becomes a forensic investigation where we have to look at, you know, cell phone and where he's been and everything else. We want to get to his residence. We want to do a search warrant and get as much information as we can.
We're looking at a security camera footage, a still photo that was taken from that of the suspected shooter. He is dressed in plain clothes. Yeah. He has a blazer on. He has a button-up shirt on, sneakers, and then you see the long gun. This is before he enters the building. He's clearly on his way to go through those revolving doors, but let's concentrate again. I think that it's really important to make this point that the shooting, he went up to the 33rd floor. Right. So clearly
he knew exactly where he wanted to go.
He knew where he wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Please elaborate on that.
Targeted.
You know, like I felt the mannerism he was walking from the video and the still photos, and you see that extended magazine. You know, you have a person there that's minimum. I mean, and I'm just saying, of course, from the angle and everything else, that's a minimum 30-round magazine. So if you think about it, you know what? This is the type of ammunition and the type of weapon that we get people to actually engage in combat. So he went up there. He knew what he was doing. He hit only one specific floor. And I'm amazed that, you know what, he was still willing to do it. Because if he had any sort of intelligence beforehand, you know, it's usually the same officers work the same details, or they constantly have NYPD working in an off-duty capacity, and that he was willing to engage with them like that. It shows, you know, that's just brazen. And that's something you don't see every day.
And talk about brazen and talk about something you don't see every day. This man walking in, apparently when he got out of his vehicle, he must have taken that long gun out of maybe a bag or something. But look at him just brazenly strolling through. Now, I don't know whether people just ran away already, because usually there are people in a courtyard there. But he's walking through like he's just carrying a bag of, you know, a suitcase or something, as if nobody would notice that gun. Or maybe they would, and they'd get the heck out of there as fast as they could, as it appears that they did.
You would think that there's security once you enter this building. Is that a long shot, Philippe? I mean, is that fair to say that there's some sort of security when you enter this building? It's a very prominent building in Midtown.
Correct. I mean, it depends. I can't really, you know, I don't have any information. It has to do, you know, it could have been private security that were unarmed. And at this point, think about it. If you have officers that are fully, you know, trained and armed in the way we prepare our officers, and they had a, you know, difficult time, and look at the results of what happened. We lost one of our own today. And, you know, it's just the fact that the officers didn't really have a chance to wear out guns. Unless they were able to get some information from that private security. Remember, the building is just so vast, so many floors. How many people could you alert at once? You know what kind of public address system? Did they have some sort of code that they could have put over the PA system, or an emergency text or something? You know, there's a lot of different companies that have all the stuff that can send you an immediate, you know, active shooter notification to your phone via email, text. We just don't know the capacities or what kind of equipment they had in that building.
And one more thing, Philippe, I noticed that, as Christine points out, this guy is wearing basically a polo shirt or a long sleeve shirt and a jacket over it. He doesn't appear to be wearing any gear himself, which we frequently see in these shooting situations. Does that tell us anything about the suspect?
You know, it just usually, one thing is, when I see that type of firearm, I see the way he's walking, the way he's dressed. He's looking to blend in, but at the end of the day, you know what? He wasn't afraid to die. You know, ballistic vests are easy to purchase. You got used stuff out there with these heavy-duty ceramic plates that stops all this, you know, high-powered firearms. It's easy, it's something easy to buy. The same way he had that large capacity magazine in that gun, and you know, it's out there.
You know, Philippe, we're finally able to air some video immediately after the chaos broke out after this shooting. We're always extra careful before we air any video here at CBS New York until we can get it verified, and also obviously this picture. But we're looking at some of the video of just how chaotic the response was because of this clear and present danger of what was known at that time as a man with a long gun who had already shot an officer and some civilians. We see police arriving. We see them jumping over garden islands, some of them, you know, clearly approaching with caution, as if somebody could open fire at any moment. And you can certainly just tell from these pictures what a tense scene this was when they approached. Please tell us about, you know, what is going through these officers' minds that are clearly running right into danger and not thinking twice.
Well, I can tell you from 31 years of experience, once, you know, the call comes out, officer down to 1013, I mean, your mindset goes into automatic response mode. The most important thing for you at that time is to get there, to make sure your officer is safe, and respond by any means necessary. There's times that I've jumped onto the back of an ambulance and held on when an officer was calling for help. And it's just the most important thing as a cop, to be there for one another. And you know what? You really want to save everybody else also, because that's part of our job. But when an officer goes down, your mindset goes different. It's automatic fight no matter what, and you got to get there. So, you know, I feel for these poor officers that, you know, in this trauma that they're going to have to live with. You know, those voices never leave your head.
Yeah, I was going to say, first of all, we did see Mayor Adams on the scene where he is likely being briefed at this hour. But Philippe, as former NYPD yourself, you know the phrase, you're always on the job. These two officers were working in a security capacity, so outside of the job, but on the job. And that feeling has to be going through everybody who is a former officer, who is an officer who may not be on duty, that at any single moment, something awful like this could happen, correct?
It does, but you put it in the back of your mind that every day you still go out there and answer those huge amount of radio calls that keep coming in, and you do your best to serve the public. But you know what? At the end of the day, these officers have responded. It is trauma. It's hard. But at the end of the day, you put that, the shield back on, you put your vest back on, and you go out and do your job. And we've been doing it for years.
Philippe, how difficult is it, though, to hear the news that you lost one of your brothers and then continue to have to concentrate on the task at hand, to secure evidence, to ensure safety, and to make sure that no stone goes unturned?
It's difficult because, you still have that in the back of your mind. You still have to secure this crime scene. You still have to do a lot of different things, There's a lot that goes on with securing such a massive crime.
Dozens of police officers on the scene, but since the shooter has been neutralized, the tone of everything here has dropped significantly. It is not the chaos that we were dealing with earlier and the extreme sense of danger. People are much more calm right now. In fact, Gus, let's go ahead and show them over here. This area over here had been closed off to not just the press, but also the general public, because the NYPD State Police had cordoned off several blocks here, so people were not allowed to walk along Lexington Avenue, starting here at 50th Street and stretching for 2 blocks, maybe even 3. They just opened up this street right here for anybody who lives in these blocks now. You are allowed to have access, again, because the shooter has been neutralized. Again, I'm Linda Schmidt, Fox 5 News. We have been out here since about 6:20. I want to bring in my colleague here, Kendall Green. And Kendall was located about 6 blocks from here. But I want to give you, just so you have the lay of the land, where this all happened was, I'm on 50th and Lex. It's on 51st Street, 1 block from here, and then it's just right around the corner. And it was that entrance right around the corner where that gunman went in with an AR-15 earlier this evening and started to open fire. Now, Kendall, you were located, what, about 5 or 6 blocks from here?
Yeah, we were right along 55th, close to 56th and Park.
Right.
And then we were talking to a bunch of the residents, we were talking to workers there, and they were telling us that they had to put into a shelter in place. Many of them were standing there for about a couple of hours. One gentleman we spoke with earlier, he recalled he was standing on like the 30th floor, looking down at the scene of that BMW with that perpetrator you saw there.
Right.
And he was just talking about what that looked like. And he was saying that officers were there at first. In a matter of 5 minutes, they got alerted what was going on. And right after that, you just saw a drove of police officers, drove of ambulance, EMT. We heard some of them, some of the scanner talks where they were actually directing EMS right there to the location. We're there at 9:43.
So employees in some of the surrounding buildings, because again, on Park Avenue here in Midtown, there are a lot of financial businesses down here. So it's not just down Wall Street where these financial institutions have offices. They have some here as well. And by the way, 2 of the biggest companies that were in the building where this happened, the NFL and Blackstone, which is a financial company. Now, the people that you were talking to, did they work in the buildings adjoining them or a few streets away?
One of them was about a block away, right across from where
6 dead now. They're reporting
that he saw all the interactions there going on with that shooter. Other people, they were in the building that looked like it was maybe right next door to the building that's right across the street,
Okay.
cat a corner to where that shooting happened,
All right.
and they were just talking about the scene and how crazy it was there.
Right.
And
So, but some of those employees were saying that they were alerted. So were they alerted by their own companies? Was it through a text message saying shelter in place, active shooter? What did they tell you?
One person, they told me they were alerted by a woman, just a woman that said that there's a guy with a gun. Everybody needs to be careful, get out the way. And then after that, That's when they started getting alerts from people that they worked with, and then authorities told them to shelter in place from that point. So, of course, they were worried about that. This is something they've never seen. Park Avenue, that strip, it has so many businesses, so many financial firms, as you just mentioned, the NFL. So this was something that just caught them completely off guard. And then we were showing them the pictures. They're hearing about it, and then we showed them the pictures of
the gunman, because there were 2 pictures that were released of the gunman.
Yeah, and when they saw that, and you're thinking that's a couple of blocks, not a couple of blocks, a building over or 2 buildings over from where you work, and you see somebody walking in with clean cut, as you mentioned earlier before we got on air, clean sneakers. It seemed like a statement to be made, but they were frantic when they saw that AR was something that was so close to them, and to hear that there were, casualties involved.
Right. When you talk about this going on first of all, in the country, it really is heartbreaking that anything like this would happen. But then you're talking about New York City, 6 o'clock at night, so many people, thousands of people on their way home because it's still the evening commute. And to think that someone is walking along Park Avenue carrying an AR-15. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen the picture, but the picture showed the shooter. And if you want to be kind of wide on me, Gus, here, the shooter carrying the AR-15 like this, right next to him. So it would have gone about from his knee up to about here, and just walking straight and walking with purpose. No look on his face, clean cut, had on dark glasses, had on a dark colored blazer, a collared shirt that was either white or light blue. Kendall, you can come back in here. Light blue, had on black, it looked like black jeans, nice pair of sneakers, but walking with purpose. And obviously walking with purpose. If you have an AR-15, you're intending to do something with it. Absolutely. You have some intent. But he was not looking around. He was looking straight. He knew exactly where he was going. So it was not something that was random. So did people talk to you about that picture?
Well, yeah, they were so shook by the picture. And then they were worried about their own loved ones, their family members. There was someone pretty close. There was someone there. We saw families that were sitting there waiting because that building is so close, waiting for individuals who were shelter in place, worried about what was going to come next, if they were going to get bad news. We saw one individual close to the scene where we were burst out into tears with her mom. With one of her parents, and you don't know whether she is how connected she is, but where we were, you saw after things calmed down, you start to see just worry. It went from kind of frantic. Are you safe? Do you know? Just having your wherewithal about you, and then it went straight to worry and just hoping for the best for those folks.
Right. Because when you're going through something like this, and being in the news business, we have gone through situations like this before. Immediately and within like the first hour, again, until the shooter is neutralized, it is an organized chaos, and it is panic, and your adrenaline is kicking in for everybody, even the general public. And it's after the shooter has been neutralized and everybody realizes that it is no longer dangerous. That's when this starts to sink in. People start thinking about it, and then you start thinking about your coworkers and your family, and that's when it really starts to hit people. And that's where a lot of people end up breaking down.
Yeah, and then you see the tension between police officers there. At first you're worried, you're seeing how they're being really aggressive with everyone, trying to keep them out the way.
Right.
And then they get things kind of subdued, and you know where things, you think you know where things are, where they stand. And then you start to understand, okay, this was something going on very close. Folks were in danger, clear danger, right. And they seem to get more sympathized with that.
Right. Well, when we first got here, we actually, Gus, my cameraman, and I, we made it up to Park Avenue, which is a block from here. And so now this has all been opened up to the general public, so they're allowed to walk on this. But we initially were allowed up a block from here, which was right around the corner from where the shooting happened. But then quickly, I guess maybe we were there for about 45 minutes, and then police actually started pushing us back for our safety. They wanted to get not just the media, but the general public pushed as far back as possible until they realized that the shooter had been neutralized. Because not only are they trying to deal with what's going on in the building, they have to keep the public safe outside. Because you have a shooter inside a building, they don't know if that person's going to open a window, start firing down at the street. They have no idea what could possibly happen, but that is a scenario that they have to prepare for. So they pushed us back to this area right here. And again, where this happened was just a block from here, and then you would make a left and you would go up, I don't know, maybe, 20 yards, maybe 20, 30 yards up this block is the entrance to the building where it happened. And I know you were talking too, come back in, Kendall. You were talking about some of those people saying that they had been notified by other people, but the NFL actually sent out an alert, and I'm sure other businesses in that building did the same thing, telling their employees not to leave the building, to shelter in place. And this is what these folks, I mean, it's a Monday.
Right.
In the summer, 6 o'clock at night, people are on their way home from work, and
just getting ready to close out, and then you have to shelter in place for couple of hours, and you don't know what's coming next. You don't know if you're going to be there for the rest of the night. You don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, there was plenty of worry, and some of those finance workers, you work in finance, you kind of get comfortable. You're on Park Avenue. You kind of don't expect anything like that to happen.
Waiting for a press conference, 10 p.m.
This happened right there on Park. It's such a main stretch of Manhattan.
in a financial area.
Right. So you have to ask the question, what was the motive and the connection to that financial institution? What's, and that, of course, that's going to come out later on in the presser or when police get to the bottom of that part of it.
Well, right now the mayor is at the hospital, New York Presbyterian, which, by the way, is not too far from here. That's at 68th and First Avenue. So that, again, is on the Upper East Side. We're in Midtown. We're at 50th and Lex. So that's a good, 50 to 68th. It's probably about 20 blocks from here. So the mayor is there. The chief of department is there. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is there as well. And the mayor is going to be having a news conference. Now, he arrived on the scene here shortly after we got here. And there was a block. We were originally up about a block, and they had the police tape up there because the mayor arrived soon after this started happening. And so he was already obviously being briefed, because the moment something like this happens, the mayor knows about it. He is being continually briefed on what's happening. So he got here to the scene, and then he got closer to the building. Now they are all up at the hospital because it has been confirmed one of those people shot is an NYPD officer. And it appears that NYPD officer was moonlighting, which they are allowed to do when it's approved by the department. And it appears that's what this officer was doing, providing security inside this building. So the mayor's going to be having a news conference shortly, and he will be updating us on exactly what's happening. But do me a favor, can you just grab the mic here for a moment? And again, I'm Linda Schmidt with Fox 5 News. This is my colleague, Kendall Green.
And another point that kind of stuck out was that weapon and how, I don't know, just how chilling it was for a bunch of those witnesses to watch, that this was so close to them. And I know a bunch of them that we spoke with. There was a woman, we showed her the picture of that AR-15, and the look on her face as she was looking at it, it just looked like she was worried. You could tell, you could see it in her eyes that she was really worried, concerned about this. And I mean, this is a really busy area, and so you have to wonder, like, was she in danger? What everybody there, dozens of folks just outside, were they in danger simply just by being there? Thankfully, things calmed down at that point. But it was something definitely to see. And another point was something else that kind of stands out about this is the temperament of some of the officers that you saw there. You could tell that there was a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. several blocks spanning of an area that is packed with thousands and thousands of people with any given hour or so. So you have to contain that block. You have to contain the wider perimeter to make sure that other buildings are safe and there's no issues with that. So it was a heavy load for NYPD there, and it seems like things seem to be calm, and we're going to find out what all of this was about. But I mean, in all your years of reporting, have you ever seen anything this crazy right here in Midtown, and does anything compare?
No, nothing really compares to this right here, right now. And I hate to, I've been at Fox now for 32 years, and I hate to invoke 9/11. But that, of course, was one of those situations that you carry.
It was
with
the
you for rest
response.
of your life. None of us will ever forget that. But the intensity and the amount of police officers in the FBI and the state police and the units with the heavy guns, the ECU, with the NYPD, seeing that the coordination with them. There were literally hundreds of members of law enforcement here. And when you see them trying to protect not just the media, but the public, and trying to get them out of the way because they don't
frantically themselves, who are getting worried and wondering what's going to happen next. A lot of tension, a lot of commotion, a whole lot going on. But as you were saying, go ahead.
Right. But as far as the amount of police officers in dealing with what was happening here today, the unknown, the scariness of it, the danger of it, it did remind me a little bit of, that feeling that we all experienced on 9/11. And again, that is something in and of itself. I don't mean to compare it to 9/11 because there really is no comparison. What I'm talking about here is just that feeling when you are a first responder, and members of the media, we are first responders. And when we get out here and we're dealing with the police because they don't know what they're going to be dealing with. And at any moment, someone could lose their life. At any moment, because you have no idea what the circumstances really are. And is there one person involved? Are there two people involved? Is somebody suddenly going to jump out of a car and start firing? You don't know, and it's very scary.
You don't know what or who is a threat. You don't know exactly. And you could tell that was more why they were so intense. Why? I mean, delivery drivers, they go up and down that street every day. And we saw one of them fall off his bike, just trying to get to the area, because he was rerouted by police. But that kind of goes to show you it's a packed area. It's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but police were definitely adamant about keeping folks out of that area for.
See, and one of the other things, too, that the NYPD deals with, and any police department in a situation like this, is that you also then get your gawkers, your curiosity seekers, and now especially because of social media, because they see this stuff posted, and instead of staying away, which they are instructed to do, they then they do the opposite, and they gravitate to the area, which makes it more difficult for police. And Gus and I saw a couple of people get arrested, and they appeared to be people that were just here, and they thought this was all some big game, and they wanted to come and they wanted to create problems for the police department. They thought it was funny. Well, it's not funny. People's lives are at stake here. Their life could be in danger. And that's what, police were trying to explain in a very quick way to people today.
You have a matter of 3 seconds to get that point across before you have to either use your words or use your actions.
You got to move.
Yeah,
You got to move.
Absolutely.
Because they moved us multiple times.
Yeah.
Linda, you guys are here. You got to move.
Right.
You got to keep moving.
Right.
And we were live and walking and talking while they were moving us, and they were doing it for our safety.
Right. And we were talking to a woman, I think around 6:30, 6:40, and we were trying to talk to her about what happened, and we're moving with police as well.
Yes.
So they're moving us out the way, and we're trying to get her account as a witness. And that's just.
We got press conference coming up in 9 minutes.
One of our colleagues, Matt Onimus. Now he's not here right now, but he has been going live with us since about 6:30 this evening, and he was on his way home from work, and he had his AirPods in, and he was passing that area just moments after it happened. And he was telling me that suddenly he looked up and he could see this flood of people running toward him, and he could see the fear in their eyes. And he's like, and it takes the brain a couple of seconds to process what you're really seeing, you know. And
That's
he was talking about that.
That's what we heard over and over again. They're like, you hear the words at first, and then you take a beat, and then you realize what's going on. You realize the imminent danger, and then you just go into a mode where, all right, you're watching intently. Your antennas are up. You're paying so much attention to everything going on, and you're worried. We talked to one guy who was calling some of his colleagues up the block. This is a financial district, you know. Bunch of they're close. This is a tight-knit community, and so many of them, they were saying they were calling in, checking in on some of their friends who they've known for years. Yeah, and they're like, are you good? Are you good? And they're getting thumbs up on this side, thumbs up on the other side. But there is a worry that somebody with an assault rifle will walk into a financial institution in New York City on Park Avenue. You have to question, what's the message? What's the message behind this? What's the motive behind this? That's not our job. That's what police will tell us. But yeah, it's one of those days folks are never going to forget. I mean, and even if you weren't in the building, even if you weren't in one of those places, a shelter in place, you walk past the scene and you're seeing this is what's going on, and this is the guy, and here's the AR-15. He's all over the news, and you
press conference.
You worry because is he working by himself? Is this a single actor, you know? And then one of the witnesses we talked to, he was on the 30th floor, saw the BMW, that black BMW we've been showing with the skycopter the entire time.
Which appears to be the shooter's car, the black BMW.
He said, he reported to me as a witness, he wasn't sure how they were involved, but the people didn't look alive at that BMW. Police were carrying. They didn't look like they were okay. So in that black BMW, he was from his high, on the 30th floor. He was looking down on it, and he said he was worried about that car particularly. It's connected with it. Whose lives were taken, we're not sure, but those images alone, enough to just.
That stays with you for the rest of your life, because it's not a normal thing for anybody to have to experience. But again, I want to get back to our colleague Matt Onimus. When he stumbled upon this, then catty-cornered, he took his cell phone out and he started taking some videos, and he could see some of the videos that you folks have been seeing on YouTube and on the air, on commercial television, where there were multiple NYPD officers that were by the entrance, and it looks like something out of a movie, where they're they're plastered right next to the building with the guns drawn. And then other officers, there were 4 or 5, carrying out what appears to have been the New York City police officer who was shot. Now that has been confirmed that the officer was shot, and they were running him out, carrying him by his arms and legs and getting him to an ambulance. And seeing those types of scenes, I mean, it's hard to believe that it's happening in your city at that time.
And then for Onimus, I mean, you're in there. I overheard him in my IFB. You have your headphones in, and just the visuals alone, before you take the headphones out and see all the commotion, you know that there's something insane going on.
Right.
And the question I would beg to ask is, if, for people who didn't have that, people who did have their headphones in and were not alert of everything going on, like, how they could have acted. How if you're getting behind on the updates, how the scene itself just affects your psychology, affects what's going on in your mind.
Oh, absolutely. And then again, it's not like this is something that we're all used to. It takes you time to process what's going on. It can take you a solid 3 to 5 seconds for you to go, wait a minute, I know I'm seeing this, but whoa, this is what's really happening here, before you know how to react at that point. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm just checking some stuff that's online. What's that?
I mean, this just at least just thinking about what New York City is. Yes. Park Avenue, what it is. Right. At least 2 people, you get that headline, 2 people shot at a Manhattan office building. Right. This is not some domestic situation. This is not some off the beaten path situation. This is somewhere where you're you don't expect it at all. But go ahead. What were you looking for?
No, that's okay. I'm just getting an alert here that the media was just allowed inside to New York Presbyterian Hospital. So the mayor is going to be having a news conference there. That's going to be starting shortly, but they were just allowed in. So that what they'll be doing is they'll be escorting all of those reporters and the camera crews to a room, and then hopefully it'll be a spacious room because there are going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of members of the media there. And then they will have that news conference. So I'm guessing right now it's about 8 minutes of 10. It's probably going to take them a solid 15 to 20 minutes to get set up. And then the news conference would begin after that. I'm sorry, I thought somebody was yelling my name. And then it would be about, say, 15 minutes after that before the news conference starts. And again, the mayor is there. The chief of department is there. My assumption is the FBI would be there as well. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the Justice Department is working with the NYPD on this case. So she put that notice out right away. Governor Hochul has been briefed on everything that is going on. The FBI was out here as well earlier today, as well as state police. So I would imagine they will have representatives from all of those law enforcement agencies, and they will all be speaking. And Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg is also there, so he may speak as well. But it will be the mayor who updates everyone on the number of people who have been shot and the conditions.
Looks like
hold on
6
just a
dead.
second here.
6 dead.
We have to, okay, all right. So now at this point, give me one moment here. I mean, this is how the sausage is made, so to speak. This is what we do when we're live out in the field. Sometimes it isn't pretty, but it's just the way that we have to do our jobs here. So I'm just reading through some notifications to see if I can gather any more information that I can actually share with you at this time. But again, just to recap, I'm Linda Schmidt with Fox 5 News. This is my colleague, Kendall Green, here in New York City, where there was a shooting at a Manhattan office building. It was right around the block from here. It happened about 6 o'clock tonight. Literally thousands of people would have been on their way home, leaving those businesses and on their way home for their evening commutes.
How backed up the place was. I mean, for folks just trying to get home who weren't connected to the adjoining buildings, who weren't on the same block, maybe 4 or 5 blocks over. You have folks coming from 3rd, you have folks coming over from 5th, trying to get to where they're going, whether it's the subway, whether it's, whatever their commute, a bus, whatever the case is. Yeah, wherever they're parked. And this is something that kind of locks you in for a while. And it's like, because you're locked in it, you become more aware and you're a little bit more worried about it. And you're seeing how intense the police officers are trying to make sure that they keep things calm, cool, and collected. But what another element that sticks out is we saw a father. He appeared to be a father. He just standing outside of the building, and he says he doesn't say it, he's just standing there, and you kind of where he, basically someone shared that he was waiting for somebody outside the building, and I asked him about him, and he said he's just waiting for them to come out. We didn't catch back up with that man, but just seeing that sight of worry, seeing that concern, he doesn't say it, he's just standing there, and you kind of where he basically someone shared that he was waiting for somebody outside the building, and I asked him about him, and he said he's just waiting for them to come out. We didn't catch back up with that man, but just seeing that sight of worry, seeing that concern, he doesn't say it, he's just standing there, and you kind of where he basically someone shared that he was waiting for somebody outside the building, and I asked him about him, and he said he's just waiting for them to come out. We didn't catch back up with that man, but just seeing that sight of worry, seeing that concern, he doesn't say it, he's just standing there, and you kind of where he basically someone shared that he was waiting for somebody outside the building, and I asked him about him, and he said he's just waiting for them to come out. We didn't catch back up with that man, but just seeing that sight of worry, seeing that concern, he doesn't say it, he's just standing there, and you kind of where he basically someone shared that he was waiting for somebody outside the building, and I asked him about him, and he said he's just waiting for them to come out. We didn't catch back up with that man, but just seeing that sight of worry, seeing that concern, he doesn't say it,
All right, he's looping. Stand by. Stand by. He's
All right,
looping.
Andrew Kraft here now in the anchor chair. You have been watching there. Our incredible colleagues cover a really, really tough story there in Midtown Manhattan this afternoon there, as we learned that a shooting at that office building today, and we are getting some conflicting numbers on the number of those injured and the number of fatalities. But at the top of the next hour, in about a few minutes here, we are going to get a live press conference from the NYPD there. This is going to be outside New York Presbyterian Hospital on the Upper East Side. So this is a live picture right now as we await for this press.
I don't know what happened with him at the last couple minutes. The feed went wild and he started looping. I was like, what in the hell's going on here? Like, this is weird. Anyway, folks, so we know who this person is. 27-year-old. Apparently, he's from Las Vegas. Doesn't appear that he has New York City ties, but we should learn more. We should learn more about this suspect. Was the NFL targeted or not? That's where a lot of people want to know whether the NFL was targeted or not. We will see what possible motive here, manifesto, information. So we shall see. Continuous coverage of this situation here. We got a media press conference. Now, Tamura there, he apparently played football. There's a lot of reports out about the shooter, about his past. Apparently, he was an athlete at one point. Apparently, the shooter has a private investigating license. He once dreamed of a life of football, which a lot of people think that could be the connection to the NFL. The fact that this shooter here played football throughout his dream was to play football.
Subway service going into the Lex and 53rd Street stations, the E and the M. The 6 train is skipping 51st Street. It's obviously a very good idea to avoid this area. You're not going to be able to get very far anyway, even if you're on foot. Police are shushing everybody away. And we are looking forward to getting more information from the police, hopefully within the next hour or so.
So doing a quick search online, this building is known as the Bristol-Myers Squibb building. I can also tell you that there are several companies that are housed in this building. Some of the more notable ones that you will likely have heard of are the NFL, the Blackstone Group, KPMG, and also Bank of America. We can tell you that there are street closures, as I know that you were mentioning, Dick. Also, subways are skipping some of these stops in this area. That's obviously to give police and investigators some time to secure, not only to secure the area, but also secure all evidence.
Exactly, because in a sense, on the one sense, we have a shooter who's believed to be dead now, but and it seems to be that the police do not feel that there's another shooter, but we don't know if this person had any support, because until you know what the motive is, you're not going to know why he was there. You just mentioned 4 or 5 major companies. Was he coming back to target somebody there? Now, some of the reporting says he got into the building and went upstairs, and we don't know where the victims were. Were they on the main floor? Were there 2 police officers on the main floor or further into the building? Was there a chase?
But they do have a name they like. We've seen images of the individual, and the authorities will take that, build a profile to potentially steer them toward a motive. But the first priority is just to make sure they've tended to all of the victims, those who were shot, those who may have been injured in other ways, and then they may well let us know more about the shooter himself. There is, I think, going to be I would expect you to hear from both Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch and from Mayor Adams a mention about how rare this kind of workplace shooting is in New York City. The mayor often touts the safety of the city, the dropping numbers in shootings over the last couple of years, and I would expect to hear sentiments like that to reassure the community that this that this is still a safe city, and that the public at large is not endangered.
And we know at this time that there are a number deceased. Do we have a sense if there are other victims still in the hospital at this point?
We believe there are, and I have to tell you, Lindsay, that the numbers that we keep hearing have really fluctuated over the last couple of hours. We're comfortable reporting now that 4 people were shot and killed, in addition to the shooter, who appears to have taken his own life on the 33rd floor of the building after he had barricaded himself. Other people we believe were shot, and their status in the hospital has not been made clear. We'll see if the police give us an update. It's also possible we'll hear about individuals who were injured in other ways, either trying to flee or, perhaps moving furniture around as they tried to barricade themselves in what was a very scary situation.
Scary, no doubt. Aaron Katersky, our thanks to you as always. Let's go back to our Will Reeve, who's at the scene. Will, just recap what you're seeing.
All right. Yeah, Lindsay, it seems to be getting a little bit quieter here, certainly compared to a few hours ago when we arrived on the scene shortly after the incident occurred and they locked down all the blocks in multiple directions here in Midtown Manhattan. Slowly but surely, there have been police vehicles and other emergency response vehicles leaving the area or repositioning for a long time. We're on 49th Street. We're just a few blocks south on Park Avenue of that big building you see behind me, the large white one with the lights on in the middle. That's where it happened. And we're a few blocks south of that. And earlier, this was as close as anyone could really get. And not that you can get much closer, but there are onlookers who have been coming and going, as well as people just commuting throughout their evening as either tourists or employees of local businesses or in these office buildings. But now people have been able to get, get a little bit closer to see what's going on. The police presence is a little bit smaller, but still a massive presence here as police secure the area. Anyone who tries to get past sort of the perimeter gets politely but firmly steered around as they try to make sure that the area is clear, that all the people in that office building, 345 Park Avenue, are accounted for. As Aaron mentioned, it has been gradual work, clearing floor by floor with extra focus on that 33rd floor and the other floors that are right near where the suspect was found to have taken his own life after killing 4 people as he made his way into and through the building. And so as the first responders, as the police officers, as the EMTs, as the fire department and the rest of the emergency services personnel fan out, secure the area, secure the building, we're going to learn more in this press conference that should be happening any minute now at Weill Cornell, Mayor Adams, other New York City officials, and that 10 p.m. or thereabouts, now that it's past 10 p.m. press conference, suggests that they have at least a sense of at least information that they are willing to share with the media and thus with the public. But as of now, as Aaron mentioned, we don't yet know the motive, so perhaps learning more about this shooter will then jog the memories of people who knew him, or people might be able to connect him to other things that they know that might be able to paint a clearer picture of why exactly this man walked into an office building on maybe the most famous street in all of New York and began opening fire with a long gun. It's almost unfathomable that such a thing would happen here in this part of New York, in New York at all, but certainly in this business district, this shopping district, this tourism district. We're just blocks north of Grand Central Terminal with its famous ceiling. We're in the middle of Manhattan in the literal and figurative sense here. And we're going to hear more from Mayor Adams and should give us a clearer picture.
All right, Will Reeve, thank you. Let's bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett as we await that press conference. Brad, based on your experience, is there a shooting of this magnitude where there were not any warning signs?
Well,
there's going to be some warning signs. Now, how specific they are, Lindsay, we'll have to see. I mean, typically people who commit this type of mass violence will deteriorate over a period of time. When I say deteriorate, in other words, that maybe they were angry about something that's related to that building, worked there before, whatever it might be, an issue with somebody personally there. And that festers over a period of time until something happens, something that wouldn't trigger the average person to go commit this horrible violence, but it's enough for him to justify to go and do it. And so will that be there? Maybe. I mean, we all have this problem of were there warning signs enough to stop him? And so many times they're not. In other words, troubled person, talking in dark ways, acquiring weapons. They're doing a lot of things that are troubling, but they're not against the law. And so as a result, it's really difficult. In his case, we'll have to see, were there clear warning signs that people ignored, didn't report them? Maybe, but it tends to be more of, it's not explicit, but it's a gradual deterioration of the person until they have enough things going on, enough feelings of powerlessness, and that they have to do something to feel better about themselves. And that typically is why they go and commit these mass shootings. And the other side, and we don't know that it's relevant to this shooter, Lindsay, but fame plays a big role in mass shooters. They want to be recognized because fame is power to many people. And so some of that may be playing into this, but clearly the powerless part is almost in every one of these shooters. And they feel like there's no other way out than to commit these types of horrible acts.
Brad, as we're awaiting this press conference with the mayor and NYPD, give us a sense of what you're going to be listening for.
Well, the mayor may or may not share this person's name, but perhaps he'll give us more information. My guess is he'll sort of run through a timeline and talk about, there were sadly a number of people deceased and maybe others injured. And he may or may not share information about, if they have it at this point, as to why this guy was in the building on this day with that weapon. But hopefully we'll walk away with at least more information that we can sort of better assess what really happened here. But it's going to be pretty quick because it's only been a few hours. And even though they've probably done searches, pulled up social media, maybe had ATF trace the weapon, all of those things, still may not give you a rich picture, but it may give you a better picture of who he is.
And Brad, give us a sense of at what point the FBI gets involved, when an event has happened in New York City. Is there a clue here that the suspect perhaps is from out of state and therefore the FBI immediately works in concert with the NYPD?
Well, maybe, but understand, Lindsay, that there are so many people, NYPD working with the FBI working with NYPD on various task forces. And as we've noticed, even in rural mass shootings, you tend to get the FBI and the ATF to show up to help in a support role, in an interviewing role, to your question about out of state, to get things immediate from whatever location the shooter might be from. That's all helpful from a technical standpoint. It goes on and on. Now, we've obviously seen in other cases, the FBI ends up then being the lead. We don't have any information to suggest that in this case. I mean, clearly there are cases that it's got some terrorism aspect to it, domestic terrorism, international terrorism, whatever it might be, will lead the FBI to the front of the line, basically, of running the case. But I don't get any flavor, at least up to this point, that will happen.
All right, Brad Garrett, thank you so much. I want to bring back in on the phone retired chief of detectives for the NYPD. Actually, we got you here on Zoom, Bob Boyce. Bob, we expect to hear from Mayor Adams and the NYPD shortly. What are you going to be listening out for?
Oh, I just want to see what exactly he was engaged in when he first came in with that gun. And was the officer there? We're trying to put people in places right now to figure that out. All evidence leads right now that the officer immediately confronted him when he walked in the door with that gun, and they were downstairs at the time. So he was there on his paid detail, working off duty, but it was sanctioned by the NYPD. That's what we're looking to see right now, is exactly what happened, who was shot, then where he went from there. Every step he made in that building, Lindsay, I want to know what happened. Right now, it's an NYPD case, and it'll probably say an NYPD case outside of any new information going on.
I do see a number of news sources that are reporting his age and location and name. We are not just yet here at ABC. Do you anticipate that will be released at the press conference?
Oh, yes, they'll come up with it. It's been a while now. They've had nearly 4 hours since the incident. So they have enough to give you a preliminary understanding of what happened right now. There has been several pictures that have been taken at the crime scene. A lot of work has been done. A lot of research has been sent there. So right now we have some kind of operating plan going forward into the man's life. Was he a lone wolf? It certainly appears that way right now, but we don't know who he talked to and what he was saying to those people, exactly why he was there.
A number of us have been inside this building before and know it well. It's a very secure building. Obviously, there were a number of security officers, including this off-duty NYPD officer there in the lobby. Would it be customary for anyone in the lobby in a building like this to have a firearm?
It's not unusual for that front. That's your choke point right now. You're going to stop people coming in and ask them their business. So you would have someone armed normally in private sector security. Again, if they're hiring an officer to work pay detail, they know that person's armed, so they're comfortable with that as well.
Retired chief of detectives for the NYPD and ABC News contributor.
Any minute there's going to be a press conference.
Thanks.
All right, so we're waiting for this press conference. Supposed to take place at 10 o'clock. They're running a little bit late. Looks like they're at the hospital.
Newman now. And Elizabeth, same question for you as far as what you're going to be listening for in particular during this press conference.
Your mic's out.
Apologies for that. We're hoping to learn as much as we can about the suspect, about the age, any motive that they may have been able to pick up by now, the grievance that might be at play here. Where did this individual come from? How did they get to New York, to Midtown Manhattan? Any places that they've discovered as residences, whether they're actually inside those the residence, the car, anything that this individual has touched, a hotel room in the last few days. Are they inside? Are they now piecing together the puzzle pieces to understand how we got to this moment today? So that's usually the first set of information that we're looking for. And then it usually takes longer to better understand the warning signs that might have been displayed, whether people in his life, loved ones or colleagues or friends had noticed that something was going wrong.
All right,
ultimately, what I look for when we're doing these kind of investigations is the signs and indicators that we can use in the future to try to stop this from ever happening again. So piecing together the path that this individual took to get to today does help us hopefully prevent future attacks.
And Elizabeth, as we're waiting the New York mayor and NYPD to address the nation, just want to get your sense on that 33rd floor. Do you?
All right, so we took it here. They're all standing. Mayor's going to come in, and we'll listen in to them probably identifying the suspect and giving out additional information. What we're hearing is 6 people dead. We'll see if the numbers are correct. the revised. What else is going on? Specific details here. New York City pretty much comes to the plate and gets that information out very, very quickly after these events happen, unlike other states and other cities and jurisdictions. Looks like Alvin Bragg is there too, the Manhattan DA all the way on the right. Alvin Bragg is there. We shall see. Shooter is 27 years old. Shane Tamura, former athlete, private investigator from Las Vegas. Thank you for watching with us, ladies and gentlemen. Terrible, terrible situation. Probably about 3.5, 4 hours ago. It is believed the vehicle they were searching when we watched the search belongs to the suspect. We'll also try to find out here what the target, who was his intent here. Who was he targeting? I'm sure they got some information out of that vehicle. Manifesto, maybe. It's like city officials, elected officials. Also, I believe an officer lost their life. Horrible. NYPD officer, it appears. They have this gentleman standing in the front. We'll see what this is about. And we'll put the shooter and the gun on the right side of the screen. So parties from both political Republicans and Democrats speaking out. Looks like there's also medical staff there too.
This never gets easy. I always go back to the beginning of my role as mayor in Harlem Hospital, where Officer Mora and Rivera were assassinated. I remember watching their family members enter the hospital and a loud yell of, "No, God, please tell me it's not true." And I thought about that today when the notification came over from the police commissioner that we had a number of shots fired, and we're still unraveling what took place. And our hearts are heavy. 5 innocent people shot tonight. We lost 4 souls to another senseless act of gun violence, including a member of the New York City Police Department, Officer Islam. He served in the 47th Precinct. He was just 36 years old and a 3.5-year veteran of the department. He was doing what he does best, and all members of the police department carry out. He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city. And everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith and a person that believed in God and believed in living out the life of a godly person. He embodies what this city is all about. He's a true blue New Yorker, not only in the uniform he wore, but in his spirit and energy of loving this city. And early tonight, I met with the officer's family. I told them that he was a hero, and we admire him for putting his life on the line. This was his dad's only son. I think about Jordan, my child, and it's unimaginable to experience a loss of this magnitude. And 3 other innocent civilians are also dead. 2 males and 1 female, and another male is seriously injured, fighting for his life in critical condition because of the violent, despicable attack. Additionally, the shooter is dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. To be clear, 6 total tonight died, 1 including the perpetrator. And I'm sorry, 6 total was shot tonight, 1 including the perpetrator. No words can describe this act of evil, a man who takes the life of others who are innocent. And no words can fill the void that has been left by this tragedy. Our hearts break for the families and friends of the victims. We pray for the swift and safe recovery of the injured. The horrific crime reminds us all how easy it is to gain access to a gun. Gun violence has scarred so many neighbors and ripped apart too many families across this entire country. And we will continue the fight to do all we can to protect our city. But tonight we mourn for those who were killed. And we pray for the families as they go through this painful moment. And as I stated, 5 innocent people were shot. And the perpetrator was shot. We will continue to do what we do as a city, and that's fight to protect innocent New Yorkers. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, Commissioner Tisch.
Thank you, sir. The information that I'm about to provide is preliminary and subject to change. At 6:28 p.m., the 911 call center started receiving multiple 911 calls for an active shooter inside of 345 Park Avenue at 52nd Street in Manhattan. What happened next is under an active investigation and details are still coming in, but here's what we know so far. Surveillance video shows a male exit a double parked black BMW on Park Avenue between 51st and 52nd Streets, carrying an M4 rifle in his right hand. He walks towards the building's entrance. That individual was seen exiting the BMW alone. The building's security camera footage shows the shooter enter the lobby, turn right, and immediately open fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard who was taking cover behind the security desk. One additional male is shot in the lobby, per his own statement from the hospital. The shooter then calls the elevator, which opens in the lobby. A female exits that elevator and he allows her to walk past him unharmed. He goes up to the 33rd floor, which is route and management, and begins to walk the floor, firing rounds as he traveled. One person was struck and killed on that floor. He then proceeds down a hallway and shoots himself in the chest. In total, we have 5 victims shot, our officer and 4 other innocent civilians, plus the shooter. The shooter is believed to be Shane Tamura, a 27-year-old male with a Las Vegas address. The vehicle he exited is registered in Nevada to Mr. Tamura. Inside of that vehicle, officers found a rifle case with rounds, a loaded revolver, ammunition, and magazines, a backpack, and medication prescribed to Mr. Tamura. The vehicle was searched by our bomb squad and found to be clear of any explosives. The initial investigation shows that Mr. Tamura's vehicle traveled cross-country through Colorado on July 26th, then Nebraska and Iowa on July 27th, and then in Columbia, New Jersey as recently as 4:24 p.m. today. The vehicle entered New York City shortly thereafter. According to our law enforcement partners in Las Vegas, Mr. Tamura has a documented mental health history. His motives are still under investigation, and we are working to understand why he targeted this particular location. 345 Park Avenue is a commercial office building whose tenants include the NFL, Root and Management, KPMG, and Blackstone. At this time, 4 of the 5 victims are deceased, including our NYPD cop. Our officer was transported here to New York Presbyterian along with 1 male civilian, the lone shooting survivor, who is in critical but stable condition at this time. 2 other civilians, 1 male and 1 female, both deceased, were brought to Bellevue. The 4th civilian is a female who was found dead on the 33rd floor of the location. Additionally, there are 4 other victims being treated for minor injuries sustained in their attempts to flee the scene. Victims' names are being withheld at this time, pending family notification. Officers from our Special Operations Division are currently conducting a secondary sweep of the entire building. I want to be very clear. We believe this to be a lone shooter, and there is no longer an active threat to the public. But today, 4 innocent victims are dead. Among them is NYPD police officer Didarul Islam, 36 years old, 4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys. His wife is pregnant with their 3rd child. He's assigned to the 4-7 precinct in the Bronx. He was doing the job that we asked him to do. He put himself in harm's way. He made the ultimate sacrifice, shot in cold blood, wearing a uniform that stood for the promise that he made to this city. He died as he lived, a hero. I want to extend my profound sympathies to all of the victims and their families and to the brave NYPD cops who today lost a brother. There are still many questions that we have to answer, and we will answer them. But for now, our city is in mourning for the innocent lives lost. May their memories be a blessing. Pat.
Patrick Hendry, president of the PBA. This is a devastating night for our city, for our police department. Pure evil came to the heart of our city and struck innocent people. And one of our police officers who were protecting those people. We lost 4 people tonight in our hero brother who gave his life for this city. He was a hardworking police officer who was proud, we know, from hearing from his family, to put on that uniform and shield of a New York City police officer every day and went out and did his job. And he went out every single day to provide for his family, whether it was overtime or whatever he had to do to provide for this family. That's what he did on a daily basis. And his family is devastated. A wife losing a husband who provided for that family. A father who's not going to see his son again. And our hearts of every New York City police officer right now is hurting. We're hurting for our brother police officer who we lost. We're hurting for that family. We're hurting for all the victims and hurting for all the families of the victims. And we're all asking, why? Why did pure evil come here? And we know our police department and our law enforcement partners will work tirelessly to get those answers. But now our job as police officers is to be there for this family, to support them in any way that we can, to come together as a city, to be there for these families of the victims. And we will continue to do that because that's what New York City police officers do. And we're going to continue as police officers to go out and protect this city because we know that evil can strike at any time. But police officers are willing to risk their lives to protect everyone in this room and protect everyone in this city. So we ask all New Yorkers to pray for our police officers' family, to pray for all the victims and their families. And we need to stand united going forward. We thank you for covering this story.
We are also joined by our federal partners from the ATF and the FBI. I want to give an opportunity to our partner in the FBI, a special agent in charge of the New York City Fields Office, Chris Rea.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, on behalf of all the men and women of the FBI, I'd like to extend my deepest condolences to the victims of this senseless tragedy. And also personally, I want to extend my condolences to the police commissioner. And just please know, ma'am and Mr. Mayor, that you have the full force of FBI New York and the full force of FBI to get to the bottom of the answers. Upon learning of the incident this evening, FBI agents immediately deployed to the scene to assist our NYPD partners. While this remains an NYPD investigation, the FBI's New York office stands ready to provide any and all resources to assist our partners. Initial checks of our internal systems have not revealed any information about the subject, but when and if more information becomes available, we will share what we can, when we can, with the public. Thank you.
All of this information is under active investigation. Videos are being, and then as this investigation continues to unfold, we'll be able to answer those questions. But right now, it's an active investigation.
Commissioner, if you could just talk about he was working day detail there. People who might not know what that means, and was he the only officer working that day detail there?
I believe that there were 2 officers in the building working pay detail assignments in different parts of the building.
And what is that? People, may say he's on his day off working in uniform.
Pay detail is a program that we have set up at the police department that allows companies to hire officers in uniform to provide extra uniform security.
Commish is not doing well.
I already described what we found in the vehicle, and it's too early in the investigation to discuss anything more. As I said, too early in this investigation to tell, but nothing that we have seen preliminarily. I cannot. I cannot, other than to say that our partners in Las Vegas made us aware of a mental health history. Just what I said already. It was an M4 rifle, and we also found a revolver in the vehicle with ammunition and magazines. He did have a license in the state of Nevada. At this time, it's too early in the investigation to tell.
All right, looks like 5 people. It looks like the commissioner is really like taking this to heart. I mean, that's an NYPD officer that lost his life guarding this building. The way I see it here is 5 people dead, including the shooter. They said that the shooter traveled across country in his vehicle. And then just arrived in New Jersey as earlier today and made his way into the city. All right, special ops are conducting a sweep of the building. No active threat right now. They said, I want to be very clear. We believe that this is the lone shooter. There's no longer an active threat to the public. So we got that information. Looks like the crime scenes are kind of coming to an end here. As far as the outside, it seems like just this one general area around 51st Street. Park Avenue is closed, but the traffic is opening back up elsewhere that was normally closed. So it's a very, very sad situation out of New York City. All right, folks. JLR Investigates. We're going to sign off. As soon as we get more information on the shooter, listen, while we've been on this entire time, I haven't found any like social media accounts that were like active on this dude here, this guy, this shooter, Tamura. Maybe scrubbed his profiles. Maybe they scrubbed his profiles. I couldn't find much at all. And he got family members in the Vegas and Los Angeles area. Not much on them either. It's like his whole family doesn't even exist as far as a social media presence. We'll try to understand more, but again, this is just how crazy evil exists. This guy lived all the way across the country, literally 2,500 miles away, and gets in his vehicle and travels to New York City. It appears, I think it's the NFL. Honestly, maybe he went to the wrong floor. Maybe he realized, oh, I got the wrong place, and he's being cornered, and he just didn't go to the right place. I think it's centered around the NFL. Reason being is because of his, he wanted to be an athlete. Maybe he's mad because he never got that opportunity. That's just my opinion here, or something. He wanted to target the NFL. Maybe he's been seeing it on TV all these years, realizing that could have been me, and just hold this grudge and bitterness. And that's just my opinion, but let me hear your opinion on this matter of why he chose this particular building. So we'll stay with the story. Anything else breaks, you'll hear it on JLR Investigates. I'm sure they got a manifesto. Our thought, out there, and maybe they'll share it, maybe they won't. Our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in New York City, including NYPD, first responders, citizens, everyone that was affected by this act of terror. And if more information pops up, you'll hear it here on JLR Investigates. Stay vigilant out there, my friends. We'll talk soon. Thanks for spending time with us this evening. And we didn't want to do this, but we got to see what's going on out there. It's a wild world. Be safe out there, my friends. Have a good night.